Hey, Bougie Gang, happy Monday. I know we're here a little early, but I just finished my other live, and Atlanta News First was covering and showing the live stream of the sentencing of Cash Out, Mr. Tyrone Orlando Taylor, and Mama Cash Out. So let's get into it. Um, we saw the opening statements. If you're not familiar with this case, we saw the opening statements. I don't even know. Was it a month ago now? Oh, you just emailed me. Thank you. I've got it pulled up. Let's get into it and let's see what's going on here. Is it going to be the LWOP? If you don't know what LWOP is, you weren't here last night. Is it going to be life without parole? Is it going to be LWOP City, or what's going to be happening? Is it going to be another LWOP? Let's find out, okay? Make sure to tap in as you come in. Good morning, happy Monday. It's going to be a LWOP, okay? Baby. Um all right. What they all know is that it's getting ready to be some time. Some time is going to be spent. Okay, LWOP of it all. Okay, listening and giggling. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Kenya. Thank you for supporting with a green, getting into Operation Green Check, because baby, supporting. Okay. Erica, I see you, boo. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. We'll do some more good mornings. Let me just go ahead and start running because we're behind. I don't know if this is it at the end. It looks like he gave some sort of a statement. I don't know if the judge is taking a little break and going to think about things and then come back. I'm not sure. So let's get into it because I literally just got out of another live. Um it's pretty sad the comments are off the chain in the live. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Um Normally I don't run the comments, but these comments, the judge will be back soon. Stay with us. Okay, so the judge is taking a minute to consider everything. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's not girl. Well, cuz it's not in real time. We'd have to go back and see him in real time. Okay.
Weeks before trial. We'd also ask the court to consider just the danger and threat to the community that these defendants pose. We right now have victim impact letters that we'd ask the court to consider in those statements. I would ask our victim witness advocates to read those into the record at the court's pleasure. All right. Good morning.
Our first statement is from Jessica McQuarrie. Hi, my name is Jessica McQuarrie. I wanted to write this impact statement to let John Gibson know what he did to me was unacceptable, and it caused me a lot of pain and hurt in my life. I was already going through a rough time when I met him. I really did trust him when I met him. He promised me that I would get my kids back, which was a big effect on my life because at the time, that's all I wanted was to have my kids in my life.
Look at Hoover. Hoover looks like, I hate to interrupt, so I'm gonna not even try to interrupt too much. But Hoover looks like, baby, you wouldn't want to run into him at the wrong time in the evening. He just looks so pissed and angry. Hoover looks like an angry somebody. He looks very mean, very much giving mad, very much giving angry.
Sorry. I thought I would be able to go back home, have things for my kids, and be able to get my kids back in my life. But that was empty promises. I have gone through so much since all this happened. I have gone through many doctor's visits. I've done a lot of therapy to try to overcome this situation that affects me to this day. I have PTSD, I have depression, anxiety. It's hard to sleep at night without having flashbacks and night terrors of everything that's happened. I don't even get to have a normal relationship because I'm in fear of what the next person might do. It's hard for me to trust anyone in my life. I've had to overcome a lot of things in my life, which has made me the person that I am today. And I hope that John Gibson, his mom, and cousin get what they have coming to them through this trial. You have affected many girls and their families through this whole situation with sex trafficking and abusing all of us girls. Not once did you ever think about our feelings and what we wanted and how we trusted you to get to where we needed to be or what we wanted to be in life. It's sad that you couldn't see our pain and our hurt and what we have had to endure since all this happened. I hope you get what you have coming to you, and you don't have to get out of prison for a very long time. Even if you do get out, you can sit in prison and think about all the things that you have done wrong to us girls. Okay, we have Mr. and Mrs. Wiwatowski on Zoom, and they'd like to read their own statement. Do you want that?
I'm on. Can you hear me?
Hold on 1 second. Is this one statement, a joint statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Ms. Wiwatowski, let me see.
Honorable Judge.
Let me
Yes.
see your face, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on. I don't know how to turn it back on. Here it is. I'm more not so privy
There we
with
go.
Zoom. I
Right.
use.
Thank you.
I'll stay on. I have no problem keeping my camera on.
All right, go right ahead.
Honorable Judge, our daughter became involved with the defendant in the summer of 2015. She had just only turned 21 in the March of the same year. Because she was so young, we were still paying for her car insurance, her cell phone. This is how we located our only child, who was taken from North Carolina to Georgia with a promise to be his girlfriend and even told he was meeting his mother. Please understand the relevance to that statement because I have been married since September of 1989. And all these warm and fuzzy triggers played into the scam of his wealth and the role that he would play in these women's lives. Using his one-hit wonder status to steal their person. He and his mom literally stole the souls of all the women that they victimized. This is evident in our daughter's case, as what he did to her defined her what she is today. She has been traumatized to the point she can't even be a mother to her own children. She's been in counseling since this incident and suffers post-traumatic stress disorder because of the violence and deceit that he and his mom delivered. These individuals withheld food while they were selling these young ladies on the internet to these Johns. And they would keep every dollar too. That's how they made their money. They didn't make it by music. They simply used the music platform to lure these women in. Please consider that my daughter was an honor student who graduated high school in 2012 with almost an associate's degree in biology, and she was attending college for dental in 2015 when he made his broken promises and forced her into prostitution. We filed a missing person report. We contacted the Atlanta police. When no one listened, I called him, and guess what? I told him, like the movie Taken, I was coming and getting my own. Now, for the defense, who states, well, why didn't you just leave? Because these clowns were everywhere and literally at the side of my car.
Ms. Wiwatowski,
Ooh, not that she said these clowns. Ma'am is mad. I don't blame her because I don't blame her, but ooh, she's mad.
Ms. Wiwatowski, I
Mhm.
want you to focus your statement.
Yes, it's a human trafficking trial. Actually, the trial is over. This is the sentencing. So these are victim impact statements. There was coverage. There was news coverage, but there wasn't adequate court trial coverage, if you will. They posted the original opening statements, and then from there, here we are. They were found guilty last week, and then here we are at sentencing. So I'm gonna not interrupt anymore because this is probably about an hour. And looks like they're getting ready to come back. I don't know. They're on the clock, so we'll listen. When she comes with the sentencing, we might just play it all the way through and then hear, and then we'll be able to get our time where the judge was taking a moment to determine what her sentence was. Is this live? This is not live. If you want to go to Fox 5, it's live over there and they're on the clock. Okay, we just went live 11 minutes ago. Okay, so there's about an hour to go. Victim impact statements, and then the defendants, or now the convicted, those who have been convicted are going to give their brief statements, I guess asking for mercy or asking for leniency, whatever they're going to ask for. And then the judge takes a minute, and looks like like I said, they're on the clock. If you look down in the right-hand corner, she should be coming back soon, I guess, giving her sentence. So if the sentence comes back while we're still going through this, please don't come and spoiler it for everyone who's watching. Okay, no spoilers in the chat, please.
As an impact statement, and I want you to direct your comments to me, okay?
Okay.
All
Well, she made a point to get us as close as possible. My point is, within minutes of we getting our daughter, that Mama Cash and another woman were in the side of our car and we barely escaped. So to say that children could just walk off, they couldn't. These people were everywhere. Please give all the victims their day by throwing the book at these folks. Remember the parents that traveled and drove from their home to his door to do a well check for their daughter. Remember how we put ourselves in danger to save our daughter. And finally, remember and resonate with the fact that even though we restored her body, we have been unsuccessful in saving and healing the person because of the trauma that these animals delivered. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm done.
All right. All right.
The next statement is from Diamond Irvin.
Okay.
My past dealing with Cash Out and Tyrone Taylor has impacted my life in a major way. Because of these people, I know they are. Because of the people I know they are, I am in consistent fear of my life and for the well-being of my family. I know what they are capable of, and I know how far they can extend. So for the rest of my life, I will fear that they will kill me. I will never forget the times that he threatened to kill me with a gun, even firing gunshots indoor wherever we were, all because he was mad that I didn't want to go out and do what he wanted me to do. They know where members of my family live, and I will rest easier knowing that these two individuals are locked up for their crimes. I suffer severe depression from my past experience with these two individuals, as well as persistent anxiety. I have been in and out of the emergency room for at least 6 times to receive treatment for symptoms such as high blood pressure and rapid heart rate because of the trauma that Cash Out and Tyrone Taylor put me through. I have been prescribed several medications to help me deal with these symptoms. As a result of their manipulation of me, I have found it hard to gain and keep employment, and I have had to relocate out of the state of Georgia just to get away from them. I hope the court takes my experience into strong consideration when sentencing Cash Out and Tyrone Taylor, so that me and my family and others would seek to do harm to be safer and protected. The next statement is from Janae Wright. I have gone back and forth writing this just to soothe my soul and allowing my spirit to rest it deserves by being satisfied with vindication felt from facing one of my demons responsible for the most traumatic experience I've ever lived through by testifying. However, the God I serve knows me, and that same God prompted me to release this burden from my heart and speak one last time. So here it goes. In 2015, I was robbed and raped at gunpoint by two men while in a hotel with my best friend. In 2015, I was 20 years old, young, free, open-hearted, optimistic, and had an insatiable lust for life. However, after the event in 2015, I became anxiety and depression stricken, filled with paranoia and severely distrustful of everything and everyone. That was cowardly, and inwardly I felt alone, afraid, disgusting, unloved, and unlovable because I was tainted by an experience that altered my personality so much that I couldn't even recognize myself. Repulsed by the thought that I would be forced to explain to anyone who attempted to bond with me, and fearful of being too much to deal with, because why would anyone love a victim of such a heinous and fearful of a heinous thing, or fearful of being questioned because my story didn't make sense, and I would not be seen as a victim I really was. Pushing away anyone close to me before they could leave me first, but worst of all, I felt like I didn't deserve to live anymore. As I sit in my tears, remembering how this one event spiraled into the darkest moments of my entire existence, I remember the gut-wrenching feeling of having to explain to my friends and family that cared about me what happened, and the feeling of being judged, just as I did the day that the police were called and ignored me as well. I wanted to die. I tried to die. And had it not been for me hearing my grandmother's voice while I drifted into what I thought would be a peaceful death after swallowing what I thought was enough Tylenol PM to end my life, I never would have had the strength to turn on my stomach and make myself vomit until it hurt. But at that time, I was miserable, desperate, alone, and afraid of the entire world, and even myself. It's been 10 years of hell, healing, and hope that one day I would be able to tell my story and it would finally bring justice. So when I was contacted in 2022, I knew I had to tell it. For my then 4-year-old, now 8-year-old daughter that I vowed to protect with my entire being. For Frederica, the most loyal friend I've ever had. For the women and victims I learned about along the way, but most importantly, for myself. Dear John-Michael Hakeem Gibson, you don't deserve prison. Prison would be too good of a place for you. But since the death penalty is not an option, I pray that you never know peace, and that your soul will never return to this realm after it leaves. You are a disgrace and an abomination, and true definition of a monster. I hope that the judge finds it in her heart to make sure that you will never know freedom as long as you live.
Good morning. I will be reading the statement on behalf of Talicia Dewberry. It states, good morning. Reliving the events surrounding this trafficking case has affected me both mentally and physically. Since the investigation and my testimony, I've struggled with severe nightmares and flashbacks that disturb my sleep and concentration. The memories of what I witnessed and endured continue to resurface unexpectedly, leaving me feeling anxious and emotionally overwhelmed. This trauma has begun to affect my relationship with my loved ones. Where I was once present and engaged, now I feel myself withdrawing, easily agitated, and unable to fully connect. My performance at work has also been compromised. Tasks that once felt routine now don't feel the same. As my ability to focus deteriorates under emotional distress. I share this not as a complaint, but to give a voice to the invisible weight that many survivors carry. I'm committed to healing, and I'm grateful for the resources available, but I hope this statement provides a deeper insight into the toll this case continues to take on my life. Thank you for listening and for advocating on behalf of those who are still navigating the aftermath. Sincerely, Talicia Dewberry. And I have a statement on behalf of Jasmine Brown, which states, I wish him nothing but hell. And now I'll be reading the statement on behalf of Kiera Adams.
And Your Honor, we state for the record, we spoke with Kiera Adams' attorney, Jacoby Hudson. He's given us permission to read the statement.
Thank you.
I'm writing this to respectfully provide insight into the profound impact that being coerced into sex work has had on my life and my family. I want you to know the severe emotional, psychological, physical, and social consequences that I have endured. Many days I want to give up, but I keep fighting. No one truly understands the pain that I have experienced and continue to struggle with in my life. I've been wearing an ankle monitor for over 2 years, which means I'm unable to take a simple bath, find clothes to cover it so people don't freak out nor judge me. Daily stress of making sure it's charged, adding weight to my leg, and has severely scarred my ankle. Being forced into sex work was not a choice, but a situation driven by bad consequences or just getting involved with the wrong guy. This experience has left me deep scars in every aspect of my life. The constant fear for my safety and that of my family is overwhelming. As faced with explicit threats of harm if I attempted to leave, the threats created a sense of terror that continues to haunt me and my family daily, making it difficult to feel secure even now. The psychological toll has been devastating, and I have struggled with severe depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, numbness, emptiness, and feeling like I am constantly being judged or punished. These mental health challenges sometimes caused me to break down, which left me unable to function normally or maintain stability in my life. The stigma attached to my past has compounded these struggles as I face relentless judgment from others in my community, workplaces, family, and friends. This judgment has made it incredibly hard in my life to secure stable, well-paying employment, as employers often dismiss me upon learning my history regardless of my qualifications or effort. My family has also been profoundly affected. The shame and stigma associated with my coerced involvement into sex work has strained our relationships, caused them significant emotional distress. I'm no longer close with many of my family members, and they no longer talk to me or want to be around me. They too live in fear of retaliation from those who once controlled me and threaten to cause harm to me and my family, such as shoot up my mom's house. Each day I'm faced with the task of trying to escape the cycle of fear, judgment, and economic hardships, which is very exhausting and challenging. I respectfully ask that you consider the immense challenges I have faced as a result of being coerced into sex work. Challenges that include ongoing mental health struggles, social ostracism, economic instability, and thoughts of living under consistent threats. These circumstances have shaped my life in ways I never could have anticipated, and I am working relentlessly to rebuild and move forward. I now have stable employment and previously enrolled in an online college for animation. I
Let
humbly
me just say this real quick. Sean is so rude. Sean looks so bothered. And I'm talking about Sean Hoover next to Tyrone Taylor. So I'm looking online. The news is reporting that Tyrone Taylor is Cash Out's cousin. So when they say cousin, Tyrone Taylor, Tyrone Orlando is his cousin. Um, Sean really needs to work at his as at his sentencing table demeanor, because his body language is very unprofessional. It's very unprofessional. It's giving temper tantrum, and in a situation where women have been abused, misused, trafficked, all kinds of horrificness, his body language is awful. It's awful. And it's very at the minimum, it's unprofessional. At minimum. That's all I'm going to say.
request your compassion and understanding into your consideration of my case. Thank you for taking the time to read this letter and for considering my circumstances. I am grateful for the opportunity to share my story. Respectfully, Kiera Adams. And Judge, we have one more statement by Jordan Adams. She would like to read it for herself.
Sure.
So they're probably not going to show the
with model
face of this
here.
victim.
Please direct all your comments to me, okay? All right. Mhm.
I wound up in the company of these strangers during a dark time in my life,
Swing the mic over to her, please. Thank you.
where they violated me, assaulted me, and attempted to market and sell me for the purposes of prostitution. Can you believe that after hours of rape and assault, I consider myself lucky? Because had they been successful, had my family not tracked me down, had Officer Yamians and his degree of skill and experience witnessing victims of human trafficking not recognized my distress and rescued me, I would have been further victimized on a regular basis for God knows how long. In my vulnerable state, I simply wasn't strong enough to save myself or even found value in saving myself. These defendants not only saw this and preyed on this, they further violated, assaulted, and victimized me and attempted to profit off of this vulnerability as if my body was a wholesale product they sought to make revenue from. I need you to know how much these events not only affected me in my life, but even the lives of those I love. These crimes go much further beyond just us women in this case, but the loved ones in our life as well. The past 6.5 years, I've had nightmares on average 1 to 2 times a week. My own daughter has woken me up from these nightmares, my girlfriend, family members. I've been told I sound petrified, probably because I am. In these nightmares, it's always the same. I'm held down, I cannot move, and their voices are laughing at me, telling me they're gonna do whatever they want to me. I can't breathe and I gasp and I wake up crying. Like my mother and brother mentioned when they picked me up, I was utterly broken with a 1,000-yard stare. That didn't go away for about nearly 2 years after this event. I was catatonic. I couldn't be near or close to men. It was difficult to hold down a job. The flashbacks would often come crashing into my brain, solicited or not, to the point I'd have panic attacks and even cover my ears in an attempt to quiet their haunting voices in my head. The day these defendants chose to commit these crimes against me, they gave me a life sentence, and there was no mercy or consideration. And while I worked my butt off to successfully complete probation, win custody of my daughter, and work at nearly every major gun store and firing range in the state of Georgia to become a qualified firearm instructor in the areas of self-defense, I can tell you today that none of it has fully healed me from this violence and trauma. I don't know if there will ever be enough time. On an everyday basis, I wear 4 to 5 blades, a stun gun, pepper spray, a full-size weapon, and 80 rounds of law enforcement grade HST. And my clients often ask me, is that necessary? And Your Honor, I say absolutely. Because I know what it feels like to nearly lose your life, and as a woman lose a piece.
So she's a firearms instructor, and wow, that's a lot of firearm. That's a lot of power she carries on her.
Of
Wow.
your soul, and that you can never get back, to witness and encounter evil where there's no hesitation to harm you. I've seen it and survived it. I know today that I'm equipped and qualified to defend my life for others and to share this knowledge with others. Not only do I owe it to help others and their healing and to serve my community, I owe it to the girl that I used to be. The girl that couldn't save herself. But perhaps this step right here will offer me the healing I and these women in the community need from the offenses the court has recognized these people committed. Regarding sentencing, I'd like to reiterate that my nightmares and flashbacks and my sentence is only one of many. There were many, many other women who went unnamed during this trial. John-Michael Gibson and his mother affected so many women, Your Honor. For God's sake, he picked his own mother out.
Baby.
It's no less impact on the community. What their sentences should be, I know that's your decision, but this is, I'm sorry, excuse me. They were in a criminal organization of prostitution and human trafficking, victimizing other women. They're all old enough to understand and know better. Your Honor, I want to thank you, the court, the jurors, and the state and its law enforcement officers for saving me when I couldn't save myself, for holding all the defendants accountable, and for rendering a decision today regarding penalty in this case. I especially want to thank Officer Yamians and Investigator Dillard for going above and beyond throughout these years, and ADA Winfrey for tirelessly working on this case since day one. They're the heroes all of us ladies needed. After today, I keep hearing that I may be able to put this behind me. Your Honor, it's never behind me. It's always with me, even in my sleep and my subconscious. I wish I could better describe to you what it feels like to be a broken human being, to be broken by witnessing and enduring true malevolence. It changes you, it shakes you to the core, and the reverberations are like a ripple effect from a pebble in a pond that ebb and flow for eons. The defendants showed no mercy when sentencing me, and I ask you today that you take that into consideration when sentencing them. Thank you again.
Your Honor, with that being said, the state would like to now put on the record our recommendation for the court's consideration.
All right. Slow, please.
Absolutely. As to John-Michael Hakeem Gibson, count 1, RICO, 20 years to serve. Count 10, rape, life. Count 12, aggravated sodomy, life. Count 22, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. Count 23, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. Count 24 and count 30, merge, 12 months to serve. Count 25, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, 5 years consecutive to the sentence. Count 26, pimping, 12 months to serve. Count 28, keeping a place of prostitution, 12 months to serve. Count 29, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, 12 months to serve. And count 45, prohibited items by an inmate, 5 years to serve. We'd ask the court as special conditions, should the court give any probated time, that a $100,000 fine be allowed pursuant to OCGA section 16-5-46. Defendant is to register as a sex offender. Defendant Gibson is to stay away and have no direct or indirect contact with all named victims in the indictment, to include Diamond Irvin, who was not named in the indictment but testified at trial, and he's to stay away from their families. He is to not hold any fiduciary positions or positions of trust, and cannot possess any other person's identifying information. He's to have no social media or no dating applications, and he is to stay away from all adult entertainment establishments. He is not to engage, of course, in the commercial sex business. He is to stay away from 737 Alfred Road, Northwest in Atlanta. He is to stay away from the Mezzo apartments located at 2171 Peachtree Road in Atlanta. He is to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. He's also to stay away from 9340 St. Georgian Commons in Johns Creek. The defendant may not form a limited liability corporation or other corporation without prior knowledge and consent of his probation officer. And he must submit a financial statement every 6 to 12 months, including tax returns, to his probation officer. The global sentence as it relates to defendant Gibson would be 2 life sentences plus 65 years, 60 months.
Hold on 1 second, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
2 life sentences plus 65 years. Go ahead.
60 months and 5 years consecutive.
Okay.
Yes, all the sentences to run consecutive. As it relates to Linda Smith, also known as Marinka Vinny, Count 1, RICO, 20 years to serve. And count 37, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. We are also asking for the same special conditions as enumerated as to defendant John Gibson.
He's so unprofessional.
That's a global of 40 years to serve. As it relates to Tyrone Taylor, he is an A recidivist, and the sentence we would ask is as follows. Count 1, RICO, 20 years to serve. Count 9, rape, life.
Mm.
Count 11, aggravated sodomy, life. Count 13, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. Count 15, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 20 years to serve. Count 16, false imprisonment, 10 years to serve. Count 17, pandering by compulsion, 10 years to serve. Count 18, possession of cocaine, 3 years to serve. Count 19, tampering with evidence, 12 months to serve. And count 20, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, because this is his second offense, 10 years to serve. We'd ask the following special conditions would apply. He is to also to have a $100,000 fine. He is to register as a sex offender. He is to stay away and have no direct or indirect contact with any of the named victims, to include Diamond Irving and their families. No social media or dating applications. He must stay away from all adult entertainment establishments. And he's also to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. We are also asking that defendant Taylor submit to alcohol, drug, and treatment evaluation and any recommended treatment and random screens. That is a global sentence of 2 life sentences plus 93 years and
Damn.
12 months. In closing, Your Honor, the state would ask that the punishment fit the ends of justice and bring sufficient closure to these victims in our community, our city, and our state. Thank you.
Well, my goodness.
Good morning to this honorable court. Carrington Matthews, Senior and Junior, on behalf of Mr. John-Michael Gibson. In all things, we will give thanks. In all things, under all circumstances, good or bad. Your Honor, Code Section 16-6-1 is the rape statute. A person convicted of the offense of rape shall be punished. These are the options in our statute. It says death, by imprisonment for life without parole, by imprisonment for life, or by split sentence. That is a term of imprisonment for not less than 25 years and not exceeding life imprisonment, followed by probation for life. Code Section 16-6-2, Your Honor, governs the aggravated sodomy count. A person convicted of the offense of aggravated sodomy shall be punished by imprisonment for life or by split sentence. That is a term of imprisonment for not less than 25 years and not exceeding life imprisonment, followed by probation for life. Under 16-14-5, the RICO count, a person convicted of engaging in a RICO violation shall be guilty of a felony and shall be punished by not less than 10 nor more than 20 years in prison, or the fine specified in subsection B of this code section, or both. Under 16-5-46, trafficking of a person for sexual servitude, any person who commits the offense of trafficking an individual for labor, servitude, or sexual servitude shall be guilty of a felony, and upon conviction thereof shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 10 nor more than 20 years, and a fine not to exceed $100,000. Your Honor, when we are handling sentencing hearings, Code Section 17-10-2 governs that process. In the hearing, the judge shall hear additional evidence and extenuation, mitigation, and aggravation of punishment, including the record of any prior criminal convictions and pleas of guilty or nolo contendere, or of the accused, or the absence of any prior conviction and pleas. Punishment for serious violent offenders based on the verdict, rape and aggravated sodomy fall within this category. The sentence of any person convicted of the serious violent felony of rape or aggravated sodomy shall, unless sentenced to life imprisonment, be a split sentence, which shall include a mandatory minimum term of imprisonment of 25 years, followed by probation for life, and no portion of the mandatory minimum sentence imposed shall be suspended, stayed, probated, deferred, or withheld by the sentencing court. Your Honor, under 17-10-10, concurrent sentences, where at one term of court a person is convicted on more than one indictment or accusation, or on more than one count thereof, and sentenced to imprisonment, the sentences shall be served concurrently unless otherwise expressly provided therein. Under 17-10-11, granting of credit generally. Upon conviction for an offense, a person shall be given full credit for each day spent in confinement in any penal institution or facility, and in any institution or facility for treatment or examination for disability, including pretrial confinement for any reason since the date of arrest for the offense which is the subject of the sentence. This code section shall apply to sentences for all crimes, whether classified as violations, misdemeanors, or felonies, and to all courts having criminal jurisdiction located within the boundaries of the state. Your Honor, under 17-10-12, the custodian of the defendant shall be required to make an affidavit specifying the number of days which the defendant has spent in confinement in his custody, and furnish the affidavit to the clerk of the court within 5 days after sentence is imposed if the defendant is convicted. The affidavit of the custodian of the defendant shall be made a part of the official record of the trial, and that particular affidavit will be submitted to the Department of Corrections when the defendant has been sentenced to the custody of the department. The Department of Corrections shall give the defendant credit for the number of days spent in confinement prior to conviction and sentence, as reflected in the custodian's affidavit, before forwarding the record to the State Board of Pardons and Parole. Your Honor, our legislature has set forth in these types of crimes where there's been a conviction the contemplation of various aspects of sentencing. One that can include a minimum sentence of 25 years followed by life on probation. I will note for the record, Your Honor, that prior to trial, the state of Georgia recommended to Mr. Gibson a sentence of 25 years on the rape. Now, our system of justice, Your Honor, frowns upon a trial penalty, a trial tax, sentencing people harsher because they elected to exercise their Sixth Amendment right to a trial and handing and imposing a much harsher sentence goes against the grain of justice, because what it does is it has a tendency to snuff out the Sixth Amendment if a person is in fear of going to trial because of the trial penalty or the trial tax. So we're asking this court to exercise the good judgment that it has and has done throughout this trial and throughout his tenure on the bench to level a sentence that is fair, one that is just, and one that contemplates the purposes of sentencing. The purpose of sentencing, Your Honor, addresses three things. It addresses retribution, it addresses deterrence, and it addresses rehabilitation. These victims that have come forward to this podium have expressed to this court what they want the court to do. And if you've been a victim of anything, there's various cycles of thoughts and emotions that go through being a victim. You could be a victim of a sex crime, you could be a victim of a theft, you could be a victim of a heinous lie, you could be a victim of anything, and one of the things is going to be anger. One of the things is going to be trauma. One of the things could be forgiveness. There could be a lot of emotions that come out of being a victim. You have perfect victims and you have imperfect victims, but nonetheless you have victims. You can agree or disagree with the trial verdict, but we are standing here today because we are now at this sentencing phase. And we're asking this court to, when it looks at sentencing, that it also considers not just the retribution part of the sentencing, not just that, the deterrence, that's a scenario where the sentence will hopefully deter others who are in society from engaging in certain conduct, because it says, hey, listen, this is what could happen. So it's supposed to be a deterrence. There are many articles, many statistics and things of that nature that say that harsh punishments don't really deter. Maybe it does. We don't really know. Then there's an aspect of sentencing that deals with rehabilitation. Things that send a message that says, hey, look, we believe that there can be rehabilitation in a sentence that's appropriate, that allows for punishment, deterrence, and for rehabilitation. Now, Mr. Gibson is 34 years old. He has 3 children. He has a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 9-year-old. The state enumerated that he has 24 cycles. However, he has no prior felony convictions on his record. None. The open cases involve a drug charge from 2021 and possession of cell phones inside the jail. And we understand that the state brought forth a RICO indictment, and they put in its indictment a period from 2013 down through 21, 22. They did say that there are countless unknown victims. That's what they said in their representation to the court. Countless unknown victims. We are here to deal with what was heard inside this trial and what is known about 1710-2 as it relates to my client's criminal history. They also indicated that there were, quote, attempts to contact Kiera Adams weeks before trial. That is the absolute first time today that I've ever heard that representation being made. No information concerning that was brought forth to this court pre-trial. None of that information was brought forth from that witness stand during the testimony of Kiera Adams. So that's a first for me to hear that information. Each of these young ladies that have come forward, and we know who did testify in this trial, and we know who did not testify in this trial. And we don't know why individuals did not testify in this trial. We were not provided that necessary information. The court was not, nor did we. Now, this court has heard from each of the pieces of evidence in this case. This court has heard from the witnesses in this case that did testify. This court heard cross-examinations of each of these particular witnesses. And the court heard the jury's verdict. Today, the state asks for 2 life sentences, and they ask for 60 years. They ask for consecutive time. They ask for a very stacked, harsh penalty, a trial tax, a trial penalty. Now, sometimes courts say, well, Mr. Matthews, you know, the court can say, well, I was in the trial and I heard from these victims and I heard the evidence. And the court did. The court heard this entire trial. And I know this court to be a fair court. And I know that a sentence that is proper is one that takes into consideration all of the things that are outlined in 1710-2 and the victim impact statements combined, and the fact that my client has no prior felony convictions and the purposes of sentencing. And the court will fashion a sentence. Now, if a person is granted a life sentence, Your Honor, the statute says that that person will become eligible for parole after serving 30 years in custody. That's what the statute says. And that's what I understand the law to be. I'm not asking this court to give Mr. Gibson a life sentence in this case. I'm not asking the court to give this court, Mr. Gibson, 2 life sentences. I'm asking for concurrent time. I'm asking this court, before the trial, the recommendation was 25 years. He did not accept that because Mr. Gibson wanted his day in court, and he got that. He received his day in court, Your Honor. He wanted the constitutional right to have his Sixth Amendment trial, and he received that. He received a fair trial from this honorable court.
Hold on a second. Look how the judge is looking. And he was offered 25-year package. Like he was offered 25 years. Let's go. And now he got 2 life sentences plus 60 years. Baby, you should get that whole thing just based on the fact they offered you 25. They offered it to you and you already know you were guilty. Come on now. All right, let's get back because or else we'll be here all day. We got, let me let you see. Okay, so we probably got, where are we? Probably about 25 minutes, and then we'll speed ahead, and then we'll get to the good part. So just hang in there, y'all. No spoilers in the chat. If you already know, you know, please don't spoil it for anybody else. Thank you. Okay. All right. Mr. Matthews, aka looking like Peter Thomas. The judge is not moved. She's got her game face on. Sis is not playing. She is unwavered, and she is sitting very still, listening to stummy moves. Okay. I don't want to call Mr. Matthews a stummy, but sir, your client. It's about like Sarah Boone getting 15 years and her turning it down and sat up there and got a whole life sentence. Okay. Stummy moves. Okay.
So we're asking that he receive a fair sentence as well. It doesn't stop at sentencing. The fairness continues from jury selection all the way through the end of the case. And we
Hoover
believe
is
that's what
going
will
to
happen
speak. He's going to be,
this morning.
look down at the, let me see.
We're asking this court, Your Honor.
Mr. Matthews is long-winded. Okay.
My client would like to address the court.
Okay.
Okay, please do. Okay,
So
here
before I
Hoover's
ask the court for
Hoover's going to be right
what
there.
I would
Y'all
ask the
see?
court to do,
Look at
can
your
I have
screen.
my client address the court?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hoover will be in a few minutes.
All right.
Okay, like about 13 minutes. Hoover will be up. Okay.
Good morning, today, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I want to start out by thanking you for giving us a fair trial. I want to thank the jurors for the amount of time that they put in to judge this trial. This time being on this trial, I was able to see how the jurors are put in a tough position to, you know, sit there and judge someone's life, you know. And, you know, it's a hard decision, and I felt like they made the wrong judgment. I've done things in my life. I'm not perfect. But the things I've been accused of, I know that I haven't done those things.
Oh, the stream is even like, sir, come on, stop it.
I know it's typical for a person to come up here and, you know, show remorse to, you know, crimes that they have done, but I can only show remorse to the people that I know that was in this trial, which is Kiara Adams, Deanna Sanders, and Jasmine Brown. Not remorse on behalf of like I did anything to them, because if you know me, and people who really know me know that I wouldn't force anybody to do anything. I met women, I dated women who were doing escort or whatever, however people want to look at it from a moral standpoint, but who was doing these things as a grown woman. I've only dealt with grown.
The judge is like, hold up now. The judge, did you see her take a little sit back? That is not, he's not coming with a He's not coming with the intellectual approach. The judge is like, now wait a second.
Women. Nothing was forced. Nothing was coerced or anything of that nature. If you notice before this trial, no woman can say anything about that, about me before this trial. If you notice before this indictment, no woman can say anything about me before this indictment. I get the situations that people are put in when they're faced with a certain type of crime or a certain type of time, and they're bullied into this situation to put the blame on someone, or to put the blame on Cash Out, or to put the blame on someone who's at the top. That's why I didn't really fault them for their decision. I didn't fault Deanna Sanders for making her decision during a proffer. She just had a child. Mind you, she was just on video call with me while being incarcerated. I don't fault Kiera Adams for doing the things she did with her proffer, because mind you, she was facing a certain amount of time handling her probation in different cases that she's on. I don't fault people for making accusations because I'm a man that...
This is my thing. I fault you for not taking 25 years. Like, that's what I'm going to say. You should have took, if you know you're guilty, you should have took the deal. At the end of the day, that's it. That's all. Just like we saw earlier in the year, ASAP Rocky, he didn't take the deal because he knew he was innocent. His lawyer knew there was not the evidence to convict him. He turned it down, and he's a free man. He was exonerated, all of the things. If you are sitting here guilty and they offer you a deal, you are stupid to not take it, to think that you're going to be able to beat the system. If you're innocent and you have a good lawyer, then just pray and handle your business, and hopefully the truth will prevail. But baby, guilty on guilty? Come on now. I fault you for being stupid and not taking 25 years. He's just young enough for 25 years to not be too bad. You know what I'm saying? That's dumb. That was dumb. That was, again, that was giving Sarah Boone, right, Tanika? I see Tanika 2 cents up in here. What's up, Tanika? That was just about as dumb as Sarah Boone. Okay. All right. That was on some stupid ass decision. That was on some, I think I'm smarter than everybody else move. And look what happened.
That typically let women leave on their own behalf. Never held them in prison or held them in slavery or said, you can't leave me, or you can't do this. Every woman you've seen come on this stand showed you
Me
that.
personally, save it for the appeal. You need to just save this whole thing for the appeal, because ma'am is not here for all that. The case has been adjudicated. He's not really asking her for mercy at this point. He's trying to tell her why he didn't do it. He should be coming to her with, when he got to the point of, I'm not perfect, you know, I'm hoping to use this time to better myself, to get treatment, to do this, to do that. Your Honor, I'm just begging you for mercy. I don't want to live the rest of my life. I've got children, blah, blah, blah. I mean, him trying to convince another woman, as you have been adjudicated guilty as a pimp, is not the right move.
They left and came back willingly on their own. What I mean by that, they left on their own and they came back willingly on their own. During this trial, I was able to see, you know, how valuable life is and how valuable the people that you hang around, or the people that you even date, or the people that you even know, how valuable it is to judge their character. Sometimes I let people stay around who I knew was going to affect a situation that I had going on. So I don't, and for the people who came to this trial that I never met a day in my life, never had any contact with them, never had a text message with them, never had an interaction with them, don't even know where most of these stories came from, is baffling. Never forced a woman to commit a sexual act. Never. I've been traveling all around the world from here to Dubai, and you would never hear a woman say that I forced them to do anything sexual or commit a rape with anybody. I don't hang around people that do things of that nature.
The lies.
I feel like and somebody asked me this the other day. It was like, every time I see your head high and you always smiling, because when you have that confidence, it takes me back to the Bible. When you have that confidence and you know you can be falsely accused of things. Jesus was falsely accused. A lot of the prophets were falsely accused. You don't have that emotion like you've done something. You know, so if you see me with my head high, or if you see me smiling, it's because I know at the end of the day, through Jesus Christ, the Most High will always give you the actual judgment. So I really thank you for providing us a fair trial. Just me getting to know you during trial, I was like, you know, she's just the judge. But when you sit 12 people in that panel and you know, have them, you know, judge our lives and, you know, put them in a position to judge our lives, you know, it takes you back to, once again, the Bible, when people had to judge these prophets' lives. And I say, if you know me,
Mr. Matthews, you should not. I know he's a rapper, but you should not have allowed him to come up here and freestyle. You should have told him to sit down and write down some things and stick with his bullet points. This was a bad idea, sir. He's talking way too long and he's saying way too much. And it's not helping. It's not helping at all. Okay. Sis looks very serious. She's like, don't let my red glasses fool you. I'm gonna get ready to hurt you.
you actually know me. There's plenty of people that know me in this world. There's plenty of people that know me in this jail. There's plenty of people that know me where I'm from. Like I say, once again, I'm not perfect. I come from certain areas. I come from, you know, certain environments. I come from doing things in my past life before the music. But I'm here to tell you that if you sat in this trial and you paid attention to this trial, before these dates, no woman could ever say, I've done those things to them. Before these dates, you can go on my Instagram and see these women enjoying themselves, having their own things, living their own life. Before these dates, I can say you had these women that never had anything to say about me before this indictment, before the RICO. You had these women actually talking to me while I was incarcerated. I've been incarcerated for 4 years. And these women are.
I know Adrian Love is sitting there talking, looking at him like, let him cook. Don't, Ms. Winfrey, we're not going to object to nothing. Okay. Ms. Winfrey's like, let him go. Let him just go ahead and talk himself all the way out.
Interacting with me. These women who took the stand and supposedly scared of me or monsters, or I'm a monster, or took these proffers. This wasn't the case before they was indicted. So from my perspective, I feel like some people can get bullied into a situation that they really don't really want to do. And I'm sitting here just holding my head high and just, you know, feeling that one day the truth will come out. One day the truth will come out on my situation. One day the truth will come out on this rape allegation, that these things never happened. And when you see a person get up on that stand and put their hand on the Bible,
the Sonia and Sylvia outreach,
the whole truth and nothing but the truth, that means you have to be perfect like you're Jesus. You have to be perfect on that stand. You can't show a flaw. And that's a tough one. It's a tough one for me because I had flaws in my life. So you have to tell the complete truth on that stand. And I got up there and see people put their hand on that Bible and not tell the complete truth. And that's baffling. But at the end of the day,
so why didn't your lawyer impeach what they said? If someone came up there and fabricated, where was your lawyer? Which we didn't get to see the whole trial. I don't know if they'll release the trial footage now that it's over and we'll be able to see it. after and make sure that they edit out, you know, victims and whatever. But why didn't your lawyer stand up and call out lies? We've seen that before where stuff came up and out and it was like, well, that's not accurate. You know, those dates are wrong. That didn't actually happen like that. Maybe you can, I mean, that's your lawyer who should have been able to impeach those statements.
Put my trust in the Most High. I put my trust in the universe to bring out the truth, to bring out the truth of these people who made these allegations. It, to me, it's like you have no heart. You have no heart. And I know people want me to stay in line or walk a toe, but when you speaking something truthfully and you speaking from the heart and you know that this is not your character, something must be said. And I just wanted to address the court and give my perspective on the things that I felt during this trial and the judgment that I felt that the jurors gave us.
This speech is for the judge. He is asking for, you know, he wanted to address the court. So he's addressing the court at large, but specifically the judge, because this is her time that she gets to give the sentence based on the verdict and the law and her, I guess, her discernment, I guess. So she's probably applying multi-prong. So he's trying to give some sort of convincing last argument, but he went off script. He said too much.
Was not the correct judgment. And it will show. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Matthews.
Your Honor, thank you for allowing Mr. Gibson to speak to this honorable court.
Okay, Mr. Gibson, you had plenty of time, sir. Okay, Mr. Gibson's basically done. He's going to be down in just a minute. Okay, Mr. Gibson, thank you.
So, Your Honor, I'm asking this court to measure what was offered before trial and what the court believes is fair after this trial, and that there not be a trial penalty imposed. I'm asking the court to consider.
So he's saying trial penalty. So, okay. So basically, so what Mr. Matthews said before, he basically is almost like Mr. Gibson didn't want to give up his right to have his day in court by taking the 25-year deal. Oops, he fucked up, excuse my language, took the opportunity to have his day in court. He was now found guilty and is facing double life plus 60 years or something crazy like that. So you're calling it a penalty, but really and truly you want a do-over or backsies on it. You basically want the judge to impose the sentence of the plea deal that he decided to not take. The plea deal is like a one-time offer that you get at that moment. You accept it, you don't accept it, you take your day of court and you roll the dice like you're in Vegas and it's a gambling, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gonna roll the dice. They'll say, you want this $25,000 before you go into the Venetian, or you want to take this $2,500 and see what you come out with. One person comes out with $1 million. Some person comes out, their credit cards are ran down. Okay. That's it. That's all. So he's trying to make it seem like it's a penalty, but the penalty was the foolishness when you decided that you knew you were dealing with escorts or dealing in escorts. You were taking women's bodies, you were confining them, putting them in servitude, all of these things. And then now your lawyer wants to get up here and call it like a penalty of actually going to trial, when the bonus was you don't have to go to trial. You take this and go. Now you want the deal. And that's not fair to the judge to make it seem like there's some penalty in him exercising his Sixth Amendment. You could flex it or not. And you chose to flex it, and it was the wrong choice, clearly, right? So for anyone who's not kind of getting what he was talking about, the penalty, so to speak, it's more so holding it against him in the sentencing, that and judging him or adjudicating him with a stiff sentence versus what was offered in the deal. So whatever, we're gonna see how this turns out.
A 30-year sentence with all of the charges run concurrent, with the exception of the firearm charge that has to be, under our statute, a consecutive imposition.
All right, thank you, Mr. Matthews.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Matthews, you took too much time, sir. Mr. Matthews was up there for a hot minute. Let's see.
She's
Mr.
had
Matthews.
not a single negative incident during her stay at all. Not a single write-up, not a run-in, not an argument, nothing at all. In fact, there's a supervising officer that is in the women's location who speaks very highly of her and her involvement while in custody.
Correction, it's 1 in 37.
I'm sorry, is it 37?
Yes.
Hold on a second. You don't get a cookie for good behavior. This is a grown woman, and good behavior is what you're supposed to do. You shouldn't get a cookie. Maybe you do get a cookie when people have shown themselves to not be able to behave, but damn it, getting up and the first thing you're saying is she's an exemplary prisoner. How about just being an exemplary person? How about that? How about just have been exemplary while you were on the outside?
Of the, under our statute.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you, Mr. Matthews.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I felt like it blipped a second. Okay, here she comes. This is Miss Linda's attorney.
She's had not a single negative incident.
Did you see how it skipped ahead some type of way? That wasn't me. I'm not sure why it did that, but after the live is over, we'll see. The live is probably over now, so it's probably still rendering. So that might be why it did that little skip thing, but we'll come back to it just to see if we missed something. But if you see it kind of did something weird, just look.
She's had not a single negative incident during her stay.
Unless she said someone's name and they edited it out.
Not an argument, nothing at all. In fact, there's a supervising officer that is in the women's location who speaks very highly of her and her involvement while in custody.
Correction, it's 1 in 37.
I'm sorry, is it 37?
Yes.
Okay, 1 in 37.
Okay,
My
so-
apologies.
Go ahead.
Her last, as the state shared with you, her criminal history, the only other felony to speak of related to Ms. Smith is not some 32 years ago. And it's in regards to a possession of marijuana charge. While she's been in custody, she's been positively engaged and working on rehabilitation. One of the things that Mr. Matthews mentioned that is expected to come out of sentencing and what the expectation is. She's already been working on her rehabilitation since she's been in custody. She has been a pod worker, which is the equivalent of a trustee. So her requirements there is that she cleans the pod, that she passes out food, that she mops floors, that she sweeps floors, that she makes sure that clothes get washed. And while that sounds to some, while it might be, I don't know, even demeaning to some, It's actually a privilege that's bestowed upon them while they're in custody, that they're able to be trusted to do these things. And she's been trusted to do these things while she's been in custody since 2022. She has participated in the New Beginnings program, is still participating in the New Beginnings program, working towards the certificate that they receive at the end of that. Through that, they participate in anger management, parenting classes, AA classes, cosmetology, all these things, regardless of whether or not these are areas that pertain to their particular arrest or pertain to something that they have personally asked for or needed. And she's walked through all of them. She's participated in everything. Since she's been in custody, she has been conducting Bible study for the past, I want to say 2.5 years. And in that, she has received a certificate, and it's for the faith worth dying for, having achieved a grade of 100%. She's also participated in lessons on assurance and received a certificate for that through the Set Free Prison Ministries Rehabilitation by Regeneration program that's at the jail for her. During the time that she's been in custody, she's unfortunately lost her father. During this trial, you learned that while at the home in Johns Creek, her father lived with her. She had a family that lived in the home with her, and she was a primary caregiver. Since she's been in custody, she's lost him. Her mother is 77 and is in Alabama. Her brother is just 50. And during the time that her father was severely declining, he went into a coma. He's recently come out of the coma. He requires speech therapy. He requires, I believe, occupational therapy and physical therapy, and is receiving dialysis. So naturally, her mother at 77, her brother at 50 with all of these now special needs, these are folks that she would like to get back to, folks that she would like to be able to caregive for like she did for her father.
This is what I would want to know. Were you even taking care of any of these people when you were, when you were involved with your son in the victimizing of these other women and also trafficking yourself, I mean, she is someone who was trafficked too, so she definitely was a victim of her son, but she also victimized other people. But were you taking care of your 70-year-old mother when you were doing all of these things? Or when did you take the opportunity as a mother to say to your son, I can't participate with this in this with you anymore, this is wrong? That's just a disgusting dynamic for a mother and a son to participate in. This is a cousin, so I would assume your nephew also, Mr. Taylor. This is just a nasty family dynamic right here. And as the elder of the group, I would think you would know better. So it's kind of like trying to use her mother and her disabled brother. It's like, sis, were you even caring for any of these people? Because it sounds like you were busy trying to run behind your much younger son with what he was doing and your nephew and victimizing these women. Right. They say you're nasty. Right. Absolutely. Okay. Very nasty, disgusting family dynamic here.
While he was ill before she went into custody. We attempted, Ms. Smith never wanted to be in trial. Ms. Smith never wanted to have a trial. And so there were several conversations and meetings that the state and I had, and the bottom line is that we were just far too far apart on being able to reach a negotiation that we could present to this court. So she ended up in trial, but definitely not a choice of hers. I've heard the recommendation from the state, which ultimately is the max on the 2 charges and to run them consecutively. On behalf of Ms. Smith, I would ask for something different, but I do want to allow Ms. Smith an opportunity to speak on her own behalf if Your Honor would like to hear from her. You can come over here.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm sorry. I'd like to say thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. Not a day, ever since I turned myself in, I was always prayerful for the victims. I take accountability. I pray for them continuously. I pray for the district attorney's office. I pray for you, Judge, because that's what God requires me to do. And that's what I truly feel in my heart, because I love God so much, and I'm so full of joy. That Friday, when the verdict came in, I wasn't angry at all, not at all. I almost thought something was wrong with me. So that Saturday, well, the night before, let me back up. I talked to God like I always do.
Now that she said, let me back up. Hold on. We're about to get all the way into it.
To the young ladies at New Beginnings. And I said, Father God, I don't want to put my business out there. That's my business.
Girl.
But Father God said, your business is my business. And my agenda is your agenda. He said for me, which I always do, I respect authority. And Sergeant Ball was on the shift in my pod.
Hold on. What's the sheriff doing? Who's she? I hope Sylvia's not in there messing up.
And for me, which I always do, I respect authority. And Sergeant Ball was on the shift in my pod. So I had to speak to her. I was kind of afraid to speak to her. But Father God reminded me, he said, I'm by your side, do not fear. So I pressed the button and I asked, could I speak to her? Because I knew that in order to get my testimony.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize Portia was barking. I'm already lost. I'm like, sis, what is you talking about? Please, my God.
There's authority that I must talk to. So I went out and she asked me what was going on. And I said, Sergeant Paul, I'm asking, like, during devotion, will I be
Okay, we got 4 minutes. Look, Hoover looked like he's getting ready to take a nap during her speech.
to give my testimony? Because that's what God has said for me to do. It wasn't a choice. God doesn't give you that. He gives command.
Why not just say, you know what? I was wrong. As a mother, I failed my son. As a woman, I failed myself. As a woman, I failed these young women who were in my presence, that I knew I was doing the wrong thing, and I encouraged them to do the wrong thing too. As a mother, I should never have joined in with my son with whatever he was doing. Like, just somebody admit to what you're doing, like that it was wrong, whatever, whatever. Catch it on a technicality in your appeal. Okay. If somebody would just put their big girl pants on, big boy pants on, maybe the judge would have some leniency or some mercy to say, you know what, I'm gonna give you an opportunity. Don't prove me wrong. Don't come back to my court. But blah, blah, blah. Not to say that they're not going to get a whole stiff sentence, but maybe not life or whatever. But these victims, we don't know what they went through, and being stuck in a hotel and having weird people coming in and doing what they were possibly doing to her, or feeding them drugs and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm sure it was absolutely a nightmare, horrible. So they deserve what they get, period. But it's really sad to not hear anybody like even just giving a heartfelt, admission of, yeah, I was doing the wrong things. I was doing the wrong things and I hurt people. And, at the time, maybe I didn't see the wrong, but now, whatever. I don't know. There's really no excuse. There's really no excuse for any of this. Anyway, let's keep going.
And I never want to be disobedient to God.
Girl.
She said, Miss Smith, she said, you cannot be disobedient to God. So if you give your testimony and it just saves one person, just one person, you've done what God asked you to do. So I gave my testimony to about 35 women in the New Beginnings pod with me. God was speaking through me. I give him all the praise and glory. It's not me at all. My attorney, she's been great.
Did you tell the women that you helped your son victimize other women, and you, as a mother, you allowed your son sell you on the internet to men? That you engaged in a pimp prostitute relationship with your own son? How disgusting is that? And you helped him victimize other women too? So gross.
And she asked me when she came Sunday to speak to me what I would like her to say. And she has done that. And I just said, give me an opportunity just to speak to the judge just a little bit. I'm so sorry for the victims. And I pray for them and will continue to pray. Because God says, if you love me, you love others. And when I pray wholeheartedly. I didn't think I could do it in the beginning. I said, God, I don't know if I can do this. But he knew exactly what he wanted me to do. He chose me to do this. I couldn't even stop teaching the word if I wanted to. That's not even an option with me. Whatever you wish it to be, I'm okay with that. Because I will continue to spread the good news wherever I go. Because that's the path that God put me on. It's been with me for a long time. I just didn't take notice to it. I love what I do. I love spreading the good news. I love showing love to all, and I mean it wholeheartedly. I'm not angry at all. And I thank you for this opportunity. Miss Winfrey, I thank you. I thank everyone.
Thank you.
It's no sorry, no nothing. Hey, since I've been in the pod since 2022, I've been doing Bible study. I've been giving my testimony. Did she give a testimony in the trial? Did she get on the stand? So you're giving other prisoners your testimony, but you want the judge to take into consideration that you're giving testimony at the jailhouse when it was time for you to go sit in that box. Why didn't you go give a testimony to the judge and to the jury? That's who you need to give the testimony to, baby, not the prisoners.
I'm going to be asking that you sentence her to a period of 20 years to serve.
Yes, this is the mom.
With the balance on probation. The state has listed their conditions. I have no objection to the conditions that they have.
She doesn't have a skill set. Her skill set is collecting money for her son and laying on her back and intimidating other women to do, to recruit and to bring them into a certain lifestyle. If you love doing what you were doing so much that you were recruiting for your son, escorts, baby, you gonna need a lot of rehab. You need a lot of rehab. You don't know what to do else. You have no other skill set, ma'am.
So I asked that those conditions be the conditions that this court sentenced her to. And that she be allowed to serve the balance of her 20 years on probation outside of that 5 years.
Girl, bye.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
So she can go to the doctor and go get a social security check, go get some sort of mental disability, go get certified for whatever what's going on with her. Get a social security check, SSD, and sit around and probably get herself back into trouble on the internet again. No, ma'am.
Mr. Hoover.
Not Shontavious Hoover. Stop.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I will be brief because Mr. Matthews has said a lot of what I was going to say up here for Mr. Taylor. I would just like to add, Mr. Taylor's been incarcerated longer than everyone else. He's been in jail since this arrest for this case back in 2019. Mr. Taylor, out of this entire trial, played the smallest role, if any, in regards to this quote unquote enterprise. And just remember that literally majority of the people that took the stand didn't even know who Mr. Taylor was. Or if they had seen him, they had seen him once, maybe somewhere over the years. As I have said throughout this trial and at the beginning, Mr. Taylor isn't similarly situated to literally every other co-defendant that's on this case. We've all been through these hearings. We've all been through the trial. I just wanted to put that out there on the record because Mr. Taylor wanted to make sure that it was known he's played the smallest role in this case, yet he's already been punished more than every other person on the indictment. Before we talk about, well, as the state said, Mr. Taylor is a recidivist, so there's not really much I can do when it comes to sentencing with the court. However, Mr. Taylor does want to address the court before we move forward.
All right. All right.
Hey, how you doing, Your Honor?
Good morning.
My name is Tyrone Orlando Taylor.
Speak up a little loud for me, sir.
My name is Tyrone Orlando Taylor. I know my life ain't been perfect. I made a lot of mistakes in life. I know my background ugly, but not violent, like being caught with guns and robbery and murders and stuff. I know that I made a lot of mistakes by making the wrong decisions. And I learned since 2019, I've been incarcerated to make the right decision. And I learned a lot of patience. And the victims who are accusing me of something that they said I did, that I didn't do. And it hurt me. Since I've been locked up, my family, I've been having folks dying on me. My son growing up, my daughter growing up. And I've been doing the best I can to get out this situation. And for the victim, Jordan Adams, I ask that she forgive me if she felt like I did any harm to her. I don't harm no one. I help people. I always had a job.
Sounds like Nesto.
I was a chef. I put pipes in the ground.
He said, what? Look at the bailiff's face. Okay, hopefully this isn't going to turn off on us.
I helped do create Centennial Park, the Kroger off Ponce Leon. I was working. I was doing a lot of positive things, but I had my foot sometimes in the wrong mud. So I since I've been doing time, I learned to stay positive and don't do nothing negative. Just stay positive and stay prayed up. I talk to my mama every day until that's all who I call my mama, every day since I was locked up. And I talk to my son, I tell him, make the right decision. I talk to him like he's a brother, make the right decision.
This is Nesto. He said he talks to his son like a brother. Talk to your son like a father. What? Dr. Charles, what is going on with these people? Blurring the lines of parenthood. Like, this is crazy, right? This is crazy. Stay positive.
And think about the consequences on the bad and the good. And I know that people judge me on my look 'cause I got a strong face. I'm a man. I look like that. I can't help how I look. I'm not no violent person, no herder. I don't hurt nobody. And any woman who got up down the stand and said I hurted them, they can't show no proof, no picture, no report that I really physically hurted them. I got a mother, I got sisters, I got nieces, I got aunties. I love women. I ain't ever committed no crime that they accuse me that I committed. You can look at my record. In the past, I was a user. I used to use drugs, and in 2017, I was in a drug program called Stan Inc. Fulton County put me in now. And when I was in now, when I completed the program, I was with my friend Felicia. I was in a relationship with her in 2017, 18, and 19. I got caught up with this for something that I can do. And I don't know how to say it, but I know that if I actually can't get another chance to prove that I'm a righteous person, I'm not violent, I'm not no threat, I'm not none of that what they saying I am. I promise you I'm not. That's all I got to say, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr.
You're welcome. Your Honor, thank you for giving him the opportunity to speak.
Okay.
How about Your Honor? I'm thinking to myself, how about Your Honor? I still have I would love to, I want to be able to live my life on the outside. I know that I have made so many mistakes to take me out of society, but I'm hoping that with your sentence, you will give me an opportunity to be able to put grass between my toes, for me to make amends, to be a better father, to be a better man, to be a better human, for me, what is it about humility? Like, is it that hard to be able to humble yourself a little bit and say something meaningful? Because this dribble drabble, I don't know what they thought they were supposed to say, but baby, this one not it.
All right, I'm gonna.
Okay. All right, we're gonna get our time back in just a second.
10 minutes.
So the judge says she needs 10 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna get our time.
10
Look at
minutes.
this. Judge is like, look, this is some bull. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and advance our time and get right to the sentencing. Okay. Bro, let's get to it. Okay, Miss Ernell, 22 inches Winfrey. Okay, Miss Ernell. Ernell, I got a sew in for my victory. Is that Miss Love? Yes. All right, let's advance a little bit.
that the
Okay.
diabolical conduct
Ooh, hold on. I don't want to miss a
beyond a reason.
word. Hold on. I don't want to miss a word. She used diabolical. That's right up Bougie Gang. She might be with us. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay, here we go. Yes. She used diabolical.
Right. Ms. Hannah, you ready? Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, during the course of this trial, the court heard and viewed evidence demonstrating the very worst of human behavior toward other human beings. The jury verdict in this case reflects that the state met its burden in proving beyond a reasonable doubt that the diabolical conduct of the defendants occurred. The sentencing to be meted out by this court will be responsive to that. Mr. John-Michael Hakeem Gibson, would you please stand? Okay. On count one, violation of the Georgia RICO Act, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 10. On count 10, rape, life in confinement. Count 12, aggravated sodomy, life in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 22, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 1.
Damn.
Count 23, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 22. Count 24, on the lesser included offense of battery, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 25, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, 5 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count.
So concurrent means that it can run together. So when she's saying this will run concurrent to that, it's going to run alongside simultaneously. Consecutive is one after the other.
23. Count 26, pimping, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 27, pandering, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 28, keeping a place of prostitution, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 29, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 30, simple battery, merges into count 24, battery. Count 45, possession of prohibited items by an inmate, 5 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 25. Conditions of this sentence: no contact with any of the victims named in the indictment, to include Diamond Irvin or their families. You are to register as a sex offender. You are to stay away from 737 Alfred Road in Atlanta. You are to stay away from the Mezzo condominium, 2171 Peachtree. You are to stay away from the St. George's Commons address, and you are to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. All right, you may be seated. All right, Ms. Smith and counsel, please stand. As to count 1, violation of the Georgia RICO Act, 20 years to serve in confinement. Count 37, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 10 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive to count 1. You're to have no contact with any of the victims, including Diamond Irvin, named in this indictment, or their families. You are to register as a sex offender. You are to stay away from 737 Alfred Road, the Mezzo at 2171 Peachtree Road, the address at the St. George's Commons, 9340, and the FIB, Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. You may be seated.
Damn, that's 30 years.
All right, Mr. Taylor. On count 1, violation of the Georgia RICO Act, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 9. Count 9, rape, life in confinement.
Well,
Count 11, aggravated sodomy, life in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. Count 13, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 1. Count 15, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 13. Count 16, false imprisonment, 10 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 15. Count 17, pandering by compulsion, 10 years to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. Count 18, possession of cocaine, 3 years to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. Count 19, tampering with evidence, 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. Count 20, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer.
I mean, the cold thing is that she's saying to run concurrent, to run alongside count 9. 9 is the one that he got life, which means you're not getting out. You're not getting out.
Use of threats or violence, 10 years to serve to run concurrent with count 9 and a suspended fine of $300. You are to have no contact with any of the victims named in the indictment, nor are you to have any contact with Diamond Irvin or any of their families. You are to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. You are to stay away from 737 Alfred Road in Atlanta. You are to stay away from the Mezzo address at 2171 Peachtree Road and the address at the St. George Commons, 9340. You register as a sex offender. And that is the sentence of this court. You may be seated. Mr. Gibson, Ms. Smith, and Mr. Taylor, I have to give you some post-conviction rights that you have, all right? You may remain seated while I give you these rights, okay? You need to know that you have the right to seek post-judgment relief from your convictions, the crimes, by either making a motion for a new trial in this court and or filing an appeal to a higher appellate court. If you wish to file a motion for a new trial or an appeal, then you will need to file the said motion or notice of appeal with the clerk of the Superior Court of this county within 30 days of the judgment and jury verdict, the final disposition. You may wish to more fully discuss this with your lawyers. If a motion for new trial is made and the court denies it, you will have 30 days from the filing of the order of denial in which to file with the clerk of this court your notice of appeal. You have a right to have a lawyer represent you on the motion for new trial and the first level of direct appellate review. And if you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, the court will provide you a lawyer and a transcript of your trial at no cost. With respect to felony convictions, you usually have a period of 4 years from the date that your sentence in this court becomes final to file what is known as a habeas corpus petition. On any misdemeanors, you have a period of 1 year from the date your sentence in this court becomes final to file a habeas corpus petition. All right? And with that, they may be taken back.
This is done and very much giving LWOP, life without parole. Baby, Hoover ain't it. It ain't it. Cause I mean, y'all, like I told you, if you missed yesterday's live, I was looking into his cases that closed through 2024, 2025, 2023. And baby, this is kind of how it goes. You know what I'm saying? This is how it goes. Jail time, guilty verdicts, not all life without parole, but definitely jail time, confinement, things of that nature. Interesting. Anyway, guys, let's quick pivot. I was going to shut this down and put on a new live, but there's a plea deal going on right now in Orlando, Florida, and I want to catch the tail end of it. So give me just a second to pivot real quick because looks like they're signing the papers. I'll just let this continue to play until it runs out, but just give me a second. I mean, I think people have a heart and everything, but it's like, you can't, it's kind of hard to feel sorry for people when you hear of their egregious crimes. And this is the day of reckoning. You know? Okay, so let me pivot this real quick. See see what's going on here. Hopefully people are using their microphones today. Okay, I'm going to pivot to Orlando, to Osceola County, and let's see. This is the murder of Madeline SOTO, and it looks like STEPHAN SRERNS is getting a plea deal and is accepting a plea deal today. He was supposed to start trial. They were supposed to start jury selection tomorrow, and looks like he is accepting a plea deal. And let's see what's going on. His lawyer was trying everything. She was trying the Fourth Amendment, suppress evidence, all kinds of stuff, and that all got shot down. And I think they just wanted to get life off the table. So it's probably looking or death penalty rather off the table. So it's looking probably like but we'll see.
I do.
I skipped a little bit, but
I have two plea forms.
well, I guess let's.
One document looks like this.
Uh-oh, hold on. I don't want to miss a word. Okay, so they came in, they showed some papers. I think they had him sign some papers. Let's just see what's going on here. Okay. I guess this is the procedure, so we can see it play out. So if he didn't take this plea deal, he would be on death row. So there's overwhelming amount of evidence against him. So they're probably going for a life without parole versus a death penalty situation.
Record beginning with the state, please.
Danielle Pennell.
William J. On behalf of the defense.
Alicia Smith. Beth Borden.
Peter Mills. Alex Johnson.
Ruth Walker might be via.
We have an online presence named Stephanie. Is that representative from the survivor family?
Yeah, sure.
Court has admitted an online presence, Stephanie. Also admitting Russ Walker. Court has received two plea forms, one for each of the cases for CF 1293, 2024, CF 632. Court has also received an addendum to the plea form. Borden, Ms. Smith, do you wish to walk me through the terms of the agreement?
Yes, Judge, in exchange, Mr. Stearns will be entering a plea in the 693 case, the counts 1 through 20, the state will be under counsel on all process 21 through 60, settlement concurrently with the 1293 case and adjudication of bill STE, life concurrent, and then additionally,
Thank you. And state as to the addendum. I'm going to ask the folks that have joined us remotely to please mute their microphones. State any special considerations in the addendum to the plea form.
No, Your Honor, we are just incorporating the plea addendum into the.
State of Florida filed a notice of intent to seek the penalty of death. That was on June 7th, 2024. Is the state formally going to be withdrawing that notice of intent to seek the penalty of death?
After the acceptance of the plea announcement.
Thank you. Should that announcement be made by the state of Florida, the proposed sentence will be the maximum sentence allowed by law. I'm going to place you under oath.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to enter into this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. I have two plea forms in my hand. One document looks like this. Second document looks like this. They're each plea forms for your respective cases. They each have a signature. That signature is the same on both plea documents. That signature is next to my finger. Can you tell me if that is your signature?
It's hard to tell from here.
Will you provide these forms?
It's like, stop playing. Did you not just sign those forms? Why are you playing with the people? Didn't you just sign some forms?
Yes, it is.
What your signature and a set of initials after each of the 26 paragraphs on each document.
Madeline Soto's remains were recovered. She's been recovered and laid to rest. So yeah, they know where she is. She was found and she was laid to rest.
Those initials being SS. Tell me is that you have had an opportunity to read these documents. Do you have any difficulty reading and writing the English language?
I have no difficulty.
And your signature indicates that you are aware of each of the 26 paragraphs and all of the terms and conditions of these two documents. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I have a secondary document. It is an addendum to the plea form. That document is 4 pages long. It appears to have the same initials on the bottom of each of the pages, as well as a signature at the conclusion of the case, along with your attorney, Ms. Borden and Ms. Smith. I'm going to ask the deputies to please provide this document to you, and I'm going to ask you to verify that this is your signature.
Yes, it is.
What your signature on this document tells me is that you have had an opportunity to read this document, go over it with your attorneys, and you understand the 13 additional conditions of your plea agreement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Each of the plea form goes over what your trial rights would be. In 2024 CF 1293, you were charged with the allegation of first-degree premeditated murder. In 2024 CF 632, you are charged with 60 counts. The first 9 counts being sexual battery with a child 12 to 18 years of age, counts 10 through 13 being sexual battery with a child 12 to 18 years of age, counts 14 through 20 being lewd or lascivious molestation, counts 21 through 60 being unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child, 10 or more images.
Your Honor, counts 1 through 8 are sexual battery on a child under 12.
My apologies. Counts 1 through 8 are capital sexual battery on a child under 12. The plea form contemplates in 2024 CF 1293, 1 count of murder, first degree, capital offense. Plea form on 24 CF 632 contemplates counts 1 through 8, 9 through 13, 14 through 20. With the representation that the state of Florida is withdrawing.
So he's pleading to both cases. The cases were both appearing before this same judge. So he's pleading. I mean, I'm hearing this with you guys, but basically, the judge said like maybe 5 minutes ago that he had 2 plea forms for both cases. One, the capital premeditated murder, and one for the sexual assault cases. So that's they're taking death penalty off the table pretty much. He's probably getting life without parole. But yeah, he's going to be done after today. He's done. He's going to go to penitentiary, and he's probably not going to be able to appeal and all of those things. He'll be done. Well, we hadn't gotten to him pleading guilty yet, but I guess the judge is still going through his they just got started, so you guys got to. I don't know what they're gonna say. I feel like I know what they're gonna do, and what he's doing is pleading guilty to both cases. We just have to listen to hear what's gonna happen because it just got started.
Notice of intention to seek the penalty of death upon acceptance of this plea. The maximum potential sentence on 24 CF 1293 would be life in prison without possibility of parole. Has the maximum sentence been explained to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in 24 CF 632, counts 1 through 8, the maximum potential sentence would be a mandatory sentence of life in prison without possibility of parole. 9 through 13 and 14 through 20 would be first degree felony allegations with a maximum potential sentence of up to life in prison. You understand those maximum potential sentences on that case?
It's just a LWAP day, okay? It's life without parole day. I think he wanted to not have to sit on death row. I think he also didn't want to get dragged in court. And dragged, I mean, by having them put on display all of the disgusting things that he was doing with and to Madeline SOTO leading up to the day that she was murdered. So most of the, it's a lot of these people don't have they're a bunch of cowards, because they'll do a lot of what they're doing is behind the scenes and in the dark. But when it comes time to put it out on Front Street, they don't want to be exposed. So he's going to go ahead and give his guilty and take his life without parole so that he can, he doesn't have to stand there and get dragged.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that you have a right to have a jury trial as to each of these allegations? And at the jury trial, the state of Florida would have to prove those allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. At that trial, your attorneys would be with you. They are experienced, board-certified criminal expert trial attorneys. They would be cross-examining witnesses, examining the evidence against you. You would have a right to present your own witnesses and your own evidence. If you had witnesses that did not want to come to court, you could have asked me to make them come to court with a subpoena. You could have spoke at your trial, or you could have exercised your right to remain silent and not spoken. That would have been your decision after you talked those decisions over with your attorneys, and your jury would have been instructed not to consider your decision to remain silent in any way in rendering the verdict. You would have had a right to have your trial recorded and appeal any errors that occurred in the process. Do you understand you are giving up all of your trial rights if the court accepts this plea? Because I will be imposing the sentence that you have agreed with the state of Florida to be imposed upon you, and we will not be having a trial on any of these matters. Do you understand those things?
I understand.
And Your Honor, just for record purposes, counts 9 through 13 are first-degree felonies punishable by life, as the court indicated. Count 14 through 20 are actually life felonies.
These are life felonies with a minimum mandatory of 25 years. Is life a required sentence, or would that be a punishable by life offense?
It's a life, punishable by life offense. I just wanted the record to be clear. The court indicated first-degree felonies, punishable by life. I just wanted the record to be clear that 14 through 20 are life felonies with 25-year minimum mandatories.
So the plea form indicates that these are first-degree felonies. These are actually either capital offenses or punishable by life offenses. Do you understand that, Mr. Stearns?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is anyone forcing you or pressuring you into make the decision to resolve your case this way?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone made you any other promises other than what has been presented to you as the agreed-upon sentence?
No, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or mental issues that cause you not to understand the decision that you are making?
I am not.
You understand if you are not a United States citizen, that entry of this plea would subject you to deportation proceedings.
Yes.
And if you ever before had been convicted of a sexually violent or a sexually motivated offense, entry of this plea would have subjected you to involuntary civil commitment at the conclusion of any incarcerative sentence. You understand that's the state of Florida law.
Yes.
Ms. Smith, do you have any competency concerns regarding Mr. Stearns' fitness to accept this plea agreement? Ms. Borden?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Stearns, based on your responses to the court, based on your indicating that you have reviewed this decision with your attorneys, based on your initialing of the plea form and your acknowledgement that you understand all the terms and conditions, rights and obligations on these plea forms, including the addendum, the court is going to make a determination that you are alert, you have had an opportunity to discuss this with your attorneys, that you are making this decision freely and voluntarily and without coercion. The court accepts your plea see the attorneys.
I don't see Jennifer. Do you guys see Jennifer? She's trash, man. I wonder if she showed up. That's probably the Soto family, but I don't see Jennifer. Unless she's sitting in the back hiding. She probably knew better than to show up. I don't see her, but that doesn't mean she's not there, but she allowed this guy access to her kid. So, is she coming to speak? Who's this? Probably some of the family. I mean, where Anywho, we'll see. Jennifer's there. We're not hearing anything because they're not saying anything we can hear. They're doing a sidebar. See what's going on? Let's see. We're not going to hear. It's a sidebar. Let's advance a little bit.
Premeditated murder in 24 CF. You plea murder of Madeline 9-3. First degree premeditated murder. Court has had discussion with the parties regarding the plea of no contest as to 24 CF 1293. First degree premeditated murder of Madeline Soto. Mr. SRERNS, how do you plea to first degree premeditated murder in 24 CF 1293?
No contest.
And as to counts 1 through 8, capital sexual battery of Madeline Soto while she was under the age of 12. Counts 9 through 13, sexual battery of Madeline Soto between the ages of 12 and 18. And counts 14 through 20, lewd or lascivious molestation. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Prior to sentencing, does the state care to offer any victim impact testimony?
Your Honor, the first will be a written statement from Madeline's maternal grandmother. Yolanda Zambrano. Today I stand before you with a broken soul. I am Madeline's grandmother, but to her I was not grandma. Madeline always called me Mama. She decided that since she was little, And that's how I felt with her, like a second mother who loved her with all my heart. Madeline was a happy little girl. She loved going shopping with me. That excited her so much that it felt like everything around us turned into color. I remember her face lighting up when we went to the stores, holding hands, laughing together in those moments. We connected, and I felt like she knew she was loved, protected, and valued. At night, we loved to play. It was in those moments, just before bed, that she laughed the most. Sometimes it's hard for me to close my eyes because I still hear her laughter. It was free, sweet, and sincere laugh, a sound I will never forget as long as I live. But that laughter was silenced by a horrific act, the very man who betrayed her trust, her innocence, her body. And if that wasn't enough damage, he took her life. And with her, he killed a piece of our souls. Since then, life has never been the same. Our family is empty and broken. There are days when the pain is so great that I feel like I'm drowning. And every time I think of everything she could have been, everything that was stolen from her, it hurts even more. Because Maddie wasn't just a victim. She was a little girl with a beautiful future, with a unique light, with so much love to give and receive. Today I am here because Maddie can no longer speak, but I can as her grandmother. As someone who loved her with all that I am, I come to ask for justice for her memory, for everything she lived through and should never have lived through. Justice so that no one else has to go through such a horror. I will never forget Maddie, her voice, her laughter, her eyes, her dreams. All of that lives in me, and so it will live forever. My beautiful girl, one day we will be reunited and we will never be separated again. I love you with all my heart. Thank you for listening to me with deep pain and eternal love.
This is a statement from Angelica Negro Guerrero. My name is Angelica Negro Guerrero. I lived with Maddie and Jennifer in the same house for about 2.5 years. Today, I take the liberty of expressing myself not just as a roommate, but as part of the family, as Maddie told me several times. How can I explain how this tragedy has impacted my life? There are so many emotions. I am an immigrant and I have lived in this country for 4 years. I left my country, Venezuela, alone with just a suitcase in my hand in search of a better future. Venezuela has been going through the worst moment in history, run by people blinded by power and money, people who have stolen the future of so many. I've always been against injustice, abuse, corruption, and evil in general. I couldn't picture myself living in a country where I had to witness every single day how a small, corrupt group destroyed countless families and the beauty of my nation. And that's exactly why it has been so devastating for me to experience something so tragic, so close to me after coming here with a hope for a better life. I ended up living under the same roof with a man who took the life of a 13-year-old girl, and with that shattered an entire family. What is the point of having dreams, plans, and opportunities if there is no life? If there is so much evil in the world? How can I explain what I felt and how this has affected me, especially considering that this same man took nude photos of my body without my consent, violating my privacy? I felt invaded, outraged, degraded, anguished, and absolutely shattered. I constantly think that my life was in danger too. I could have died. I am also a victim. And the only reason I'm here to write this is because God is great and I know I'm under his protection. This has affected my emotional, physical, and financial stability. I haven't been able to live with strangers ever again. Right now, I rent an apartment by myself. I pay it with all my effort just to feel safe and at peace. If I already had trouble trusting people before, now it's even harder. I can't imagine even handling a neighbor too close because it gives me anxiety. I tried to get psychological help to move forward, but this is something that will forever remain in my memory and continue to affect me deeply. To this day, I wish I could wake up and realize none of this ever happened, that this was just a nightmare. I wish I could still be spending time with Maddie, making her arepas with cheese and butter like she loved, and practicing our languages together. Me learning English and her learning Spanish. I'll never forget the words she always told Jennifer. Mommy, I would love to learn Spanish so I can talk a lot with Angelica. I think about all the time, and I wish it had been me who spoke English fluently back then. Maybe she would have opened up to me about the hell she was going through with that horrible man. I want justice for Madeline and for all the girls and women who have lived through something similar. I want him to pay for all the pain he caused her and the beautiful family I love with all my heart. I send all my love to the sky to Madeline so her soul may find peace. Angelica. This is from Zemina Zambrano, a cousin to Maddie Soto. To the Honorable Court, we write this letter with broken hearts still aching from the devastating loss of our beloved Maddie Soto. The pain of losing her is something no family should ever have to endure. But the nature of her death, the cruelty, the abuse, the inhumanity has inflicted a level of trauma and sorrow that words can scarcely convey. Maddie was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a granddaughter, a cousin, a niece, and a cherished soul in our close-knit and loving family. To know her was to love her. Her spirit, her kindness, and her light remained with us even though her life was so brutally taken. She was not only murdered, she was discarded like she was nothing, thrown into the wilderness. That image haunts our minds and wounds our hearts every day. Our grief has been compounded by the public scrutiny and the cruelty of strangers who speculate and judge without knowing the depth of our loss or the strength of our bond. We are a large family rooted in love, faith, and mutual support, and this tragedy has shaken us to our core mentally, emotionally, and physically. Many of us suffer sleepless nights, constant anxiety, and depression. The trauma has left scars that will last a lifetime. We turn to God for comfort, and we trust that divine justice will ultimately be done. But we also place our faith in this court to uphold what is just and right. Maddie deserves that. Our family deserves that. We beg you to consider the profound impact this crime has had, not just on one individual, but on an entire family and community. Please ensure that the individual who committed this horrifying act is held fully accountable. Justice for Maddie cannot bring her back, but it can ensure that her life and her death are not dismissed or dishonored. Let there be no leniency for this cruelty. Let there be no question about the value of her life. Let justice be done. Sincerely, Jimena, please, on behalf of the Zambrano family.
Ma'am, can you tell the court your name?
My name is Leticia Nunez. I was Madeline's aunt.
Can you spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
Letizia, last name Nunez, Nunez. To Maddie. When I was 7 years old, a beautiful newborn baby was brought into our lives. And I remember being so excited because I was going to be an aunt. You gave me a sense of responsibility from such a young age because I wanted nothing more at that time than to help take care of you, play with you, and overall just make you a happy baby. You're truly missed every single day. I miss your laugh. I miss your smile. I miss your big, beautiful blue eyes. I miss doing the little things like picking you up from school, helping you with your homework, even though we both hated doing that. I just miss you and your presence. But that unfortunately was taken from us. I have so much hatred in my heart, specifically for the creature that's sitting in this room today. And no matter what happens or what justice could be brought, it kills me that it doesn't bring me back. I would give up my life if it meant having you here with us. Even though I was your aunt, you always felt much more like a little sister to me.
doing your hair for the father-daughter dances that my dad would take you to, letting you pick out clothes for my closet, doing your makeup and making sure it was very light because your natural beauty was worth more than any makeup product money could buy. I just miss you every single day, and it's left a hole in my heart from the day you've been gone. Your innocence was taken from you, and since clearly that wasn't enough for a certain someone, so was your life. You were the bravest little girl I've ever met, full of love, light, laughter, and any positive thing I could think of, you were all of those things. I'm so blessed to have spent 13 years with someone so wonderful, and you're going to live on through all of us. Not because of what happened to you, because that didn't define who you were. I'm going to make sure my future kids know who you are, and make sure my grandkids know who you are, and so on. Today I sit here before everyone, and all I can say is that despite what anyone thinks they know, you were so loved by each and every one of your family members, and I know you felt you left this world knowing that. I know it would pain you to see what people have to say about your loved ones, but what I think of it all is that, and what I'd want you to think up in heaven is that it's all just noise. And I find comfort in the fact that we, your family, know you were beyond loved and beyond cared for. I'm so sorry we found out too late. But despite everything that was happening to you behind closed doors, you still remained one of the happiest human beings I've ever met. Someone who loved us deeply and made us all smile. Trying to find light in this horrible situation is very difficult, but one thing I am grateful for is that your last day on this earth was everything you wanted and more. You got the birthday you asked for, your best friends were able to be with you, we cooked the food you specifically asked for, and overall I have the memory of sitting outside by my pool looking at you and your friends and just thinking, I'm so glad she's having a great time. And look at how grown up she is. How she's blossoming into such an amazing young woman. I could go on forever, but I just want to leave this here by saying I love you so much, and I miss you endlessly. Everything I do from now on, any accomplishments, any decisions I make, anything that happens in my life, I'm going to do it for you and in your honor. I love you, Madeline Sophia Soto, and I hope you're resting peacefully now.
Can you tell the court your name and then spell your first and last name for the court reporter?
Natalie Rosero, Nathalie. Thank you, Your Honor, for having me here today. I've known the family for over 15 years. I am best friends with Maddie's aunt and was roommates with Maddie and her mom during the time her life was ended. All of our kids are the same age, so we always try to keep them united and spend as many holidays together. I have years worth of beautiful pictures, birthdays, Christmas, and Easters we all spent together. Those are the moments I try to hold on to as I stand here today. I'm here to express what the past year and a half has been like in my experience. From the moment we found out that Maddie went missing, life has never been the same. Those first 48 hours we set out to look for her, we spread flowers, went knocking on door to door, going to every business down John Young Parkway from Kissimmee to Sand Lake, asking for the public's help. All while seeing my best friend and her family have emotional breakdowns, feeling completely helpless and terrified for Maddie, thinking how could anyone just take her? It turns out we spent almost 3 days looking in the wrong location because STEPHAN lied to us about where he last saw her. Your Honor, that's the first time in my life I've ever felt true hate for anyone. The following days were filled with more sadness and distraught. We went from searching for a missing person to looking for a body. I had been searching for her as if my son was missing, so it was very difficult to accept that. We spent the rest of the week canvassing St. Cloud until they eventually found her body. Although there was a moment of relief that at least her body was found, that was the last sense of relief I've felt since that day. I was confident I had the power of discernment, but I couldn't even see the evil living in the same house. As details of the sexual abuse and her death came to light, You start to question everything. I even questioned my own faith. Having a full night's sleep became a luxury I could not afford. I was too anxious to sleep, constantly wanting to wake up from a nightmare. It wasn't until I started wishing death on him that I realized I needed help. I started going to therapy to try to deal with the grief and anger of losing Maddie the way we did. I also had to navigate my son's emotions as he finds out the cruelty that exists in this world. Holidays are not the same. The void is loud. It's hard to trust people. I am very guarded. I am hoping that when everything here is said and done, there can be some type of closure, even though Maddie's life can never be replaced. That is the only reason I am here today. As decisions are made, please keep in mind that she wasn't even my child, and I feel this way. I cannot imagine the pain, trauma, and deception that Maddie's family has experienced. I do not wish this pain and suffering on any other child or family. Thank you, Your Honor.
Stephanie online would like to address the board.
We're joined by an online presence. Stephanie, you may unmute your microphone and let the court know how this has affected your family and yourself.
Can you tell the court your first and last name and spell them, please?
I can see that her microphone is still muted.
Can you hear me, Judge?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, hi. Sorry. To the court. Maddie brought a light into her. Maddie brought a light into my life that I would never be able to describe. With her outgoing personality and her infectious smile, her infectious laugh. She was so kind-hearted, adventurous, and loving. Now that she's gone, everything's changed. The silence where her laughter used to be is deafening. The hole in my heart is bottomless, and the pain is indescribable. My family's life has been shattered. What we've endured and what we will continue to endure for the rest of our lives is a kind of pain that I do not wish on anyone. No family should have to lose a loved one in this horrible manner, especially at such young. Her life was taken. Her future. I should say, never see her fall in love, get married, or build a future that she. With her. This while in her.
Appears the connection is no longer established.
You return it. I can finish reading it, Judge.
I'm so sorry. I'm not in a good place with connection. I apologize.
You may continue. We can
This
hear you.
This vile and heartless crime has not only affected and traumatized my family, but so many other families as well. It has also impacted her friends, all of those who knew her, as well as the whole community. There are nights where I can't sleep. Nights where I wake up gasping for air, haunted by what Maddie must have gone through. I am consumed by grief. I carry such an anger that it eats away at me on a daily basis. A depression I never thought was possible. The emptiness touches every moment of every day. And everywhere I look, I see her. I hear her laugh in my memories, and then I remember she's gone, and it destroys me all over again. To know what Maddie went through and how terrified she must have been is unbearable. The thought of her suffering haunts me. The cruelty of what was done to her will never stop echoing in my mind. I asked the court for something that I know I could never really have, justice. Because real justice would mean that Maddie would be here with us and not you. You still get to wake up every day, something you cruelly stole from her and from us. The way you discarded Maddie as if she was nothing and her life had no value is a true reflection of your evil. The suffering you caused her should be given back to you tenfold. You do not deserve peace. You do not deserve mercy. You deserve to carry the weight of her pain every single day, just how we will carry it for the rest of our lives. And let me be perfectly clear. Where you go after this life will not be where Maddie is. She is in a place of peace surrounded by love. You, on the other hand, will never know peace. You will never see her again. You're not going where she is going. You're going to hell. Thank you, court.
And Stephanie, can you tell the court your first and last name, please?
Stephanie Soto.
Thank you.
Stephanie Soto, did you get it? I'm sorry.
Ms. Soto, we can hear you. Thank you for your statement.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Can you tell the court your first and last name and spelling?
Kimberly Vialta. Your Honor, I stand here today to give you a little insight of how loved and how losing Maddie has destroyed my family. Although Maddie was not my blood, I considered her my family. And I loved her like my own niece. Maddie was a kind and bubbly child and was growing up to be the most amazing young lady. She loved arts and crafts, Taylor Swift, and sour gummy candy. I had the honor and privilege of spending many holidays and special occasions with Maddie over the years, and I will cherish those memories forever. I do not have joy or happiness left in me because this monster took that away from us when he killed Maddie. Every day I feel like life is not worth living anymore because such a heinous evil exists in this world. There is not a day that goes by where I do not think about all the pain and suffering that Maddie endured. This monster took advantage of her trust and her innocence. This parasite robbed us of every moment we could have had with Maddie. And our lives will never be the same. A life sentence is not punishment enough for what he did to Maddie. However, it gives me comfort to know that he will spend the rest of his miserable life in prison. I hope he lives a long and healthy life so he suffers every single day. Therefore, I ask the court to not take any mercy on this poor excuse of a human when imposing his sentence because he does not deserve it. Thank you, Your Honor.
I think that's Madeline's dad.
My name is Tyler Wallace.
Tatiana Wallace.
Tyler, what's your relationship to Madeline Soto?
Madeline Soto was my daughter.
Go ahead.
Madeline Soto was my daughter. She was happiness. She was a joy to be around. She was quirky and intelligent. She was curious. a little forgetful like me too. That happens sometimes, but I just loved her so much. And I was not able to be in her life as much as I would like to, due to circumstances and choices I'd made, due to the way finances worked. I was strained in my relationship with my daughter, and that was finally getting better. The last time I saw her was in October of 2023, and she had come to visit for a few days. And when I took her back to the airport, I said, you know, you're turning 13 soon. When you turn 13, you have a choice of which guardian you're interested in staying with. Would you like to stay with me and talk to you? And she said yes, that she would. And so I was this close to having my little girl, sir. Because of the actions of this depraved man, I will never meet the woman she was becoming. And I can't grasp it. I can't grasp the selfishness of you, the deplorability of your actions. You're depraved. You're weak. You're a coward. You're a sneak thief. You crept into a family and took advantage and exploited them when they were weak. It's torn my family apart. It's led to arguments about who can go where and who can get what and who can help who, but we're all on edge because it doesn't heal with time. This isn't like other deaths that I've experienced. This just gets worse. It just gets worse every time I rethink about it and the true horror of what this man visited upon her. And I can only hope that he lives a long time in prison and has those same horrors revisited upon him by his fellow inmates. Thank you.
It has no further witnesses.
I don't know. I think they said Jen was in a psychiatric hospital. I don't know if she's still in a psychiatric hospital, but she might need to be, because when she probably reconciled what she did and how she made such poor decisions with her life that cost her daughter, an innocent child, her whole entire life. I don't think it's just 6 weeks or 6 months in a psychiatric hospital that will get you better. She probably needs long-term treatment to really understand, does she really, you know what I mean? Like it's, I'm going to just say it's her fault. It's a lot of it is her fault. She put her daughter in harm's way every day. She let that man in the house and let him be in her face. And it's still debatable whether she knew what was going on or not. And she better be on her knees every day thanking God she's not in jail, because she's very lucky that they spared her, but they probably needed her help to get to him. We don't really know everything as far as what she told finally for him to be where he's at right now. So, because I do think they would have charged her if they could. They probably, we know at least a couple of the interviews that they did, and I've got them posted in my Patreon, that she was given a certain immunity on some of those interviews. So they just basically told her if she lied, it was going to be a problem. So basically, tell the truth. We need to know everything. And so she was given a certain type of immunity so that they could get this guy. So, it's horrible. But I don't know, like I said, I don't know if she's still at the psychiatric hospital or not, but I would almost imagine she would need long, extensive treatment to fix her sickness in her brain to reconcile what she did. It's her fault Madeline's dead. I mean, he killed her, but she served him up. She served her up, basically, in my opinion.
Defense, any input prior to sentencing? additional input?
Can you please tell the court your name?
Okay, my name is Leslie Vajalta.
And how are you related to?
I'm a close friend of Maddie's family. Most people only know Maddie as the victim of a heinous crime, but I'd like to talk about Maddie today, and I'd like to share some things that I really loved about her. I loved how fearless Maddie was. She was an amazing swimmer. She was a fast learner. The moment she set her mind to something, she did it. That's how she was about everything. She dove into everything head first, and she was so resilient. She had the most beautiful smile. It lit up our entire life. Every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, I was so excited to see her, to talk to her about her life. She's so curious, she's so smart. She could sing, she loved to perform for us. Maddie enjoyed watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Bob's Burgers. She even dressed up as Louise one year for Halloween. And I loved her witty, outspoken personality. She's so funny. And that's how I want everyone to leave here thinking about her, remembering her. She lost a lot of privacy towards the end of her life. And I want her to be remembered by her amazing qualities, not the abuse she endured and the exploitation she endured by her abuser. There's not 1 second of my life that I don't think about Maddie. I'll forever celebrate her in my heart and out loud. Maddie was too good for the world, and she did not deserve any of this. Ever since she's been gone, our family, our joy, everything is destroyed. No one smiles anymore. No one laughs. Most days I can't even leave my house. I feel like I can't breathe. And I'm not even her blood relative. I was just so lucky to be a part of her life. He took Maddie away from us. He took away her whole childhood. He took away all her potential that we saw in her, and he took everything from us. And now it's time for him to reap what he sows. This disgusting parasite stole Maddie's youth, her innocence, her life, her joy. He has stolen our sense of safety. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see his disgusting face. I can imagine what he did to her. I know every detail. I've read everything. I will never bring children into this world because of people like him, depraved, disgusting maggots just like him. He's not the only one. May God forgive him because I definitely do not. I please ask the court to prosecute him to the fullest extent. Show no mercy, exactly how he did Maddie. Justice for Maddie. Thank you.
Nothing further.
That's any input prior to submission.
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to thank the State Attorney's Office for sparing Mr. Stearns' life. And we do sincerely hope that this will bring closure and help to start the healing process for Ms. Soos.
Court has accepted Mr. Stearns' plea of no contest for the first-degree premeditated murder of Madeline Soto and his plea of guilty to 8 counts of sexual battery on Madeline Soto under the age of 12, sexual battery upon Madeline Soto between the ages of 12 and 18 in a familial custodial role, and lewd or lascivious molestation, counts 14 through 20. State, you have an announcement as to the notice of intent to seek the penalty of death.
Your Honor, we will waive the notice of intent to seek death. We will file an electronic null pros for counts 21 through 60. And we are also asking that you inquire about waiving a PSI, just in abundance of caution.
Based on the announcement from the state of Florida, the maximum potential sentence in these cases is life in prison without the possibility of parole, as the notice of intent to seek the penalty of death has been waived. Ms. Smith, as to 2024 CF 632, is there a waiver of an entitlement to a pre-sentence investigation?
Yes, Judge.
Gordon, as to the remaining case 2024 CF 1293, is there a waiver of entitlement to a pre-sentence investigation? If-
Yes, he is not entitled to a PSI on this.
The court has had an opportunity to hear the anguish and the fury of shattered families. Everyone in the gallery has had an opportunity to hear the anguish and the fury of community mourning and permanently diminished. Folks joining us around the state and the country remotely have heard the opportunity to hear the anguish and fury of a meaningful future that was stolen, and a beautiful promise of Madeline Soto's life extinguished permanently. STEPHAN, you have had the opportunity to hear that anguish and fury from your actions. As to first-degree premeditated murder of Madeline Soto, you are adjudicated guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. As to the capital sexual battery of Madeline Soto while she was under the age of 12, for each count, you are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For the sexual battery of Madeline Soto between the ages of 12 and 18, you are adjudicated guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For the lewd and lascivious molestation of Madeline Soto, you are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. These sentences will run concurrently, meaning at the same time. The state of Florida has withdrawn their notice of intent to seek the penalty of death. These are the maximum sentences permitted to the court. Each case will have court costs that will be reduced to a civil judgment.
2024 CF 632, court costs are $11,163. As to 24 CF 1293, $666.
Court incorporates the addendum to the plea form as to each plea in 2024 CF 632 and 2024 CF 1293. Not announced. You are adjudicated guilty as counts 1 through 8, 24 CF 632. State any further sentencing considerations?
Yes, Your Honor. With regards to count 14 through count 20 in 24 CF 632, the court sentenced to life in prison. There is a 25-year minimum mandatory with that as well. The state also provided the court with a score sheet which encompasses counts 9 through 20. It includes penetration and contact points as well. A copy of that has been provided to defense as well and the court. I haven't been made aware of any corrections or additions or subtractions.
Do not have a copy of this.
Should be with the plea form, Your Honor.
It's not. I'm going to need a copy of the score sheet, please. Ms. Smith, Ms. Borden, the total sentence points pursuant to the Criminal Punishment Code score sheet are 1,278 with a lowest permissible prison sentence in months of 937.5 months. That doesn't include sexual penetration points of 80 times 5 and sex contact points of 40 times 7. Any errors, corrections, or omissions to the score sheet? Ms. Smith? Ms. Borden?
No, Your Honor.
25-year minimum mandatory sentence as to the counts requiring a minimum mandatory sentence are imposed. Mr. Stearns, you will have the right to appeal the judgment and sentences of the court. If you wish to do so, you must do so in writing within the next 30 days. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. The appeal will be limited to the jurisdiction of the court to impose the sentence. Legality of the sentence itself is a condition of your agreement with the state of Florida. You are agreeing not to appeal the pretrial rulings of the court. State anything else? That's anything else? Thank you. Let's place Mr. Stearns under, he's been previously placed under oath.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to make a brief statement. I agree that it's not fair that Madeline is not here anymore. I still have a hard time contemplating a world where she's not around, a world which feels less vibrant and less colorful than it did before. I've prayed to God countless times to trade places with her, to take me instead. And unfortunately, that's just not how he works. I have nothing but sorrow for her loss, and I miss her all the time. Her passing has torn me and my family apart as well.
He's disgusting. He is absolutely vile and disgusting. I could barely listen to this.
It truly was a joy.
He's so gross. How dare he? He just wants to tear up the SOTO family and her father more by saying he's such a predator. He's such a predator. He could have just been decent and shut the fuck up, but he's such a predator that he's got to just twist the knife even more.
I pray to God that she is in heaven and that he's taking good care of her. And I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice. I will miss her all the time. I will never not honor her memory. And I apologize for all the pain.
Anything further, defense? Conclude our plea and sentencing hearing. We'll be in recess.
He's vile and disgusting. Oh yeah, get your fingerprints. Go ahead and get your fingerprint. That makes it official. He's absolutely disgusting. Yeah, it's too bad for your parents that they had one disgusting son and that they are old and they have to do the best they can because they don't even have a child that was decent enough to not be vile and disgusting criminal. He's so disgusting. He actually thinks that like his words, he's such a predator. He is a true pedo. Absolutely disgusting. Well, this saved the state of Florida some money, some time, not to have to deal with all of the disgusting details. Because keep in mind, they gave him 60 charges out of the thousands they could have given him. The jury would have had to sit and look at all of the vulgarity in his phone that he had with Maddie, and they would have had to deal with all of that. So it's saving, you show up for jury duty and just imagine you're going to have those pictures in your head for the rest of your life. Crime scene photos, all of that. So it's I'm glad I'm glad that he just pled guilty and just spared everybody all of that. All of that is awful. Yeah, I don't know if she's gonna get charged. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think she is. Um, I don't think they're gonna charge her. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been over a year. Why, you know, where's the charges? I don't know. We'll see if the state attorney is going to give a press conference to find out, is this case closed? Are they going after Jennifer, or what are they doing? Because I don't think until we hear it from Mr. J. Um and now there was a man, I forgot what his name is, the Ninth Judicial District or the Ninth Judicial Circuit. But now there's a woman who is over the Ninth Judicial. I don't know if she has a different feeling about Jennifer and Jennifer's responsibility for all of this, if they're going to go after her or not. But I'll look into it and find out. They would need therapy. He used her like a woman. He's a creep. What he just said really really, they need to get him out of there as soon as possible, because there's probably 10 people in there. If they turned the lights off, he would be dead, and they would not mind getting their hands on him. Oh, thank you guys. I missed these, you guys. I'm sorry. He's absolutely sickening. Jen Soto needs to get some time too. She made her daughter available. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you listen to the interviews, I have a few of them on my channel. There's a playlist. If you listen to her talking to the police, it's shocking. Her behavior was shocking. She literally, if turning a blind eye was a person, it's Jennifer Soto. Not her life, her birthday party, the funeral, now today. A mess. She might be over there in the psychiatric hospital, but I don't know. She has on a faja today. We'll see how smooth her back is and the waist is snatched. Oh, are you talking about Attitude and Tylenol? Who? Kenya Mayat, thank you so much. Just awful. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for supporting. Let's see. This is getting ready to run out, and then I'm gonna shut this down. He's such a creep. I'm so glad he's done. We can just put him in the back of the memories, and just he's gross. He's such a creep. Okay, guys, it's over. Okay, well, look, the wheels of justice were turning today. We saw the interesting thing, let me just say this real quick. I'll probably come back later to talk about it. But the interesting thing that we saw today, a couple different things. Number one, we saw justice being served. People who were found guilty of their crimes or adjudicated themselves took a plea of guilty and are taking their sentencing without having to put us through the turmoil of having to listen and have to relive the trauma that their victims had to. So for that, I would say society is grateful, but we still feel the trauma of having to hear about a child being so brutally abused, and then these women who were prostituted by this guy and her mother and his mother and that other guy. The interesting thing, because we do follow the Nesto case, does that have anything to do with Nesto? One thing, yes, because his prosecutor was there. His prosecutor prosecuted John-Michael Gibson, okay, and company, mom and cousin, okay. So Ernell Winfrey, number one. Number two, Hoover, life without parole, okay. Sean, life without parole, Hoover was the lawyer for one of the defendants. Number two, RICO. Number three, the sexual assault, the sexual servitude, the rape. I mean, very similar cases. So there's a RICO of sorts for Nesto. Nesto doesn't have a whole organization, but it was the RICO activity and also the sexual crimes, even though Nesto's isn't all in one case, it's two separate cases. But it's just interesting because if they have what they have to be able to prosecute him, it's not going to be cute. It's not going to be cute and it's not going to be pretty. So I don't know if Nesto's going to end up begging for a deal. We don't know. But they're trying to force him. We don't really know that the state actually offered Stephan Stearns anything. It's quite possible they may have came and said he's willing to come in. What can we do? So we don't really know that they offered him a deal, as much as he may have came in and said, he's willing to come in on a guilty. What can we work out? So it's quite possible. We don't know what's going to happen with Nesto, but it was just interesting to see that there's components of what Nesto has going on in a lot of these people. Also, Nesto's feel sorry for me. I've been in jail since 2022. That man Tyrone had been in jail since when? 2019. So Nesto's sitting up there talking about he's been in there since 2022. Feel sorry for me. This is an injustice. This is political. This is that, and the third. Like I told you yesterday, I spent several hours looking through cases, specifically Sean Hoover's, and I saw many people who have been adjudicated in 2025, people who are still pending trial, who've been in jail as long as Nesto and some even longer. So Nesto needs to stop. I know everybody doesn't have time to do that type of research, but I had time yesterday, and Nesto is not the only one. And Nesto, nobody needs to feel sorry for Nesto. There's plenty of people who have been sitting in Fulton County who have been running around showing their ass and acting a fool and have been sitting in the county waiting for their day in court. He ain't special. Thank you. Okay? Period. Well, he's not serving time if he's found guilty or stands up and changes his plea to guilty. His time will be credited to whatever he gets. So in theory, he is serving time, but he's not found guilty yet. Anyway, guys, that's it. That's all. There's some other stuff to talk about. So I will try to come back a little bit later on this afternoon because I wanted to. There's so much going on. I did get the police report of I got a couple of police reports that I want to share with you guys. So I'm gonna stop right there and I'm not gonna drag this out any further. Nesto better take the plea. He better just come through with that guilty, whether they offer him something or not. I mean, look, if in his heart he knows he's wasting people's time and he's continuing to play in folk faces, I don't think any of these judges are being cute anymore with these sentences. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. So he better come on and just this is what I think. If you didn't watch last night, this is my prediction. I think Nesto is waiting to find out how Judge Dunaway is going to rule on the motion to suppress the vehicle evidence. Once that is ruled upon, once the motion is finalized, we get an order. Basically, if it's denied, whatever, I think that's going to dictate how they'll move forward. Because if they deny Sean Hoover's motion to suppress, then a lot of Nesto's defense is, what else is his defense? I think that Sean was trying to get Nesto out on a technicality, and that technicality might not work. Okay. And as we saw, not in STERNS, specifically the case that we just watched, Life Without Parole, Madeline SOTO, his attorney, they filed like they were just back to back to back to back filing motions. Almost damn everything was getting denied. And it's not just because everything doesn't get, granted, right? But they were trying to suppress the Google search. They were trying to suppress some very key evidence, and the judge was not having it. And his defense, there was really no defense. The only thing that he was going to do was sit there and let them do a show and tell of all of his disgusting behavior since this little girl was about 8 years old. And what was going to be his defense? He had thousands of pictures and video of him with a child in his phone. There was no defense. No defense. So his main strategy was to try to get that thrown out. And it was denied last week. And baby, he came through with the guilty. There was nothing else he could do. Koberger put through a motion for an alternative alibi. And the judge basically it's ridiculous. The judge basically said that the motion that the attorney put through was damn near ridiculous and denied it. And what happened? Came through on the guilt. I mean, there was no defense. They got DNA. They got your car all over town. You left the damn knife sheath up there. They got you following this girl on social media. You're in her inbox trying to get a hold of her. There was no defense. What they tried to throw out wasn't able to be thrown out. So what was he gonna do? Sit there and have the dog and pony show of you creep, you bastard? So that's what happened. It dawned on me that's what Sean's trying to do. That's his strategy. He wants that thrown out. And I guarantee, I'm not going to say I guarantee you, because if that's not it, then I'll have another prediction. But I think that if this motion does not get granted, he's going to take a plea like right afterwards. If he doesn't, Nesto's going to have to sit there and let Will Wooten drop all them receipts. All those receipts. Because the minute that the motion is denied, if it's denied, it's game on. It's game on. And we already know Wooten's got the receipts. Anyway, guys, we'll talk more about it. I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. This was very interesting. And, you know, it was very interesting. And, you know, justice for Maddie. By the way, Jarvis Butts had court today too. I'm going to send my request for that transcript. I'm still waiting on the transcript we requested like a week or so ago for the other hearing. So I'll be requesting the one from today. Today was the preliminary hearing, I think. Hold on, let me look at my calendar. Hold on. Today was the next week is probable cause. Okay. It's probably today was the preliminary, and that's in Allen. It's in a Wayne County court, but it's the new charges that were brought by the child that is now 20 something years old. And I read the details to you. Go to the previous video posted on Jarvis Buds for the details. We'll talk about it. I'm just not prepared to talk about it right now because, girl, there's so much going on. I cannot give you those details. But the as it pertains to the latest charges that he's gotten, he had court today, and it was a preliminary hearing in Detroit at 10 a.m. At 9:30. And I'll send the paperwork over to request the transcript so we have some chance of knowing what happened, because baby, I don't know if any of the cameras were in the courtroom today. So if they were, then I'll be back. If not, then as soon as we get the transcripts, we'll read everything. So anyway, guys, I'll see you guys later. You guys take care and have a good afternoon. Make sure to hit the thumbs up for me because likes do matter. It helps your girl a lot. Okay. You guys take care. I'll see you next time. Bye.